Sports presents college football.
It's only a rock, but upon its pedestal is built a tradition like no other in college football. The Clemson Tigers are firmly established as a force in the South, entrenched in a stadium known as Death Valley. They are the #3 ranked team in the country. But Coach Danny Ford has #1 on his mind, dreaming of carrying the Clemson banner toward a national championship. At the start of the season, Florida State was ranked #1, but their championship hopes were dashed on opening night when they were shut out by Miami. It was a nightmare. But the Seminoles remain one of the strongest teams in the nation. Their mission today, gain back some respect in the football community. Florida State visits Clemson's Death Valley today on CBS. Soggy Death Valley as CBS Sports welcomes you to college football 1988. From Clemson, South Carolina, the Tigers will take on the Seminoles of Florida State. And despite our bad weather, it will not dampen the enthusiasm of some 80,000 who will jam into this stadium here this afternoon. One of the loyalist football fans anywhere in the nation. And they have come to see their Tigers host the Seminoles. Clemson welcomes everyone to Death Valley, one of the toughest arenas for a visiting team down through the years, and a tough assignment this afternoon for Bobby Bowden. Weather conditions, well, the temperature is pleasant, but it has rained a ½ inch here this morning, and the forecast is for more rain, so we will have a muddy going throughout the day. Welcome, everybody. I'm Brent Musburger. We have a game here this afternoon with national title implications. A couple of weeks ago, you remember when the Seminoles of Florida State were rated #1, the preseason consensus choice to win the national championship. Nebraska and Clemson was #3, followed by Oklahoma. Now, a couple of weeks later, Miami has pole vaulted to #1. UCLA has been a solid force in the West Coast, and Clemson is still #3 with Florida State ranked #10. And Pat Hayden, what about this game and the implications of a championship for both these teams?
Well, Brent, I think in 1981, Clemson showed a team for the Atlantic Coast Conference could win a national championship, and I think they're very much in the hunt this year. And they're in the hunt because, first, they have a very good football team, and secondly, their schedule is really set up very, very well. They only play 3 teams. I think they can beat them. Florida State today, Duke in about mid-season, and then South Carolina at the end of the year. All 3 of those teams have to come in here to Death Valley, and that is a tough place for anybody to win.
You know, Pat, it's going to be tough for Florida State, but not impossible with 1 loss. They must win this one today. And, of course, the question you want to put to Bobby Bowden is, how did you restore the confidence of your players after the massacre in Miami?
Well, after the thrashing, Brad, that took care of itself. Our football team looked like an entirely different football team the next Monday than they did before we went into the Miami football game. I mean, you talk about deflated egos. We all had a bunch of deflated egos. Now, their attitude's been good since then, but we will not regain the respect of anybody until we win against somebody like Clemson or another top-ranked team.
So, Bobby, and players will try to restore some respect here this afternoon. The weather now, Pat, what kind of a twist does that bring to this game?
Very much a factor, obviously. I think this game is going to key on turnovers. Coming in today's game, Clemson's only had 1. Florida State 11, 9 of those by the pass. They have to run the ball better today to win.
Now, you and I agree. One of our favorite traditions in all of college athletics is here at Death Valley. The players from the Clemson Tigers will take a bus, and then they'll pour down that hill, and they will be touching today what is a slippery rock. We'll be back for that But right now, let's send you to New York for an update on what's going on in college football. Here's Jim Nantz and Ara Parsiga.
All right, well, thank you, Brent. A wild and wet one in West Virginia today, playing in the rain. Maryland went in front 14-0 on the 12th-ranked Mountaineers before West Virginia stormed back. With 8 seconds to go before halftime, trailing 21-17, quarterback Major Harris on the bootleg puts the Mountaineers a leg up at the intermission. They now lead 41-24 with 13 minutes to go. Penn State and Boston College just starting the third. BC giving the 16th-ranked Nittany Lions a go there. Notre Dame and Michigan State. The Irish leading midway through the third. The story, Reggie Ho, 2 for 2 today in field goals. That makes the 5'5" place kicker 6 for 6 on the season. Many of you have heard Alabama and Texas A&M postponed because of a possible hurricane threat of Hurricane Gilbert, and 3 other small college games were postponed today as well. Baseball last night, what a story for Tom Browning of Cincinnati. He threw a perfect game. Here's the final out. Tracy Woodson, the pinch hitter, strikes out, completing the perfect game for Tom Browning, the first one in baseball since Mike Witt of the Angels, 1984. And Browning improves his mark now to 16-5 on the season after the perfect game. Yankees and Boston in the 5th. Surprise starter Charles Hudson of the Yankees with a no-hitter in the 5th inning. And Ara, let's talk about a little more of what's at stake here in this game between Clemson and Florida State.
Well, as you know, Jim, I picked 8 teams before the season started that had the potential of winning the national championship. These 2 were among them. But the team that loses in this game is out of it. Florida State would suffer its 2nd loss. And in the case of Clemson, even though they have 1 loss, their schedule is not going to allow them to come back into the championship picture because it's too weak.
I agree with that. What's it get down to in this game, you think?
I think the quarterbacks is going to be a focus on the quarterbacks, but it's not going to be so much the completions as much as it's going to be the quarterback that avoids the big interception. All
right, Errol. We're back here at halftime, of course, but coming up, the Seminoles and Tigers will rejoin Brent and Pat down in Death Valley after this message and a word from your local station.
How can you improve something this great, like Thompson's water seal? Well, Thompson's could apply itself, or keep any rain from hitting your house. Instead, we've made it waterproof better. Introducing new and improved Thompson's Water Seal. 50% more active ingredients now protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage with a lot more waterproofing power. So if you thought Thompson's couldn't be improved, we proved it could be. Thompson's, the first name in lasting protection.
Sometimes you got it today. Emerson's got it right. Fine-tune your life. Nobody's got to tell you. Emerson does it right. Fine-tune your life.
Fine-tune your life with Emerson.
A legend has been created. Not just another battery, but a better battery for the future. Better in reserve power, with up to 2 hours and 25 minutes in reserve for those critical times like when you leave your lights on. Better in protection, with a warranty that lasts over 6 years into the future. Better in availability, since it's now at over 20,000 Napa outlets. The legend from Napa. Any way you look at it, a better battery.
This is CBS.
Thank you. When it comes to getting the best deals, Mother knows best. I even shopped around for my bank. And I found the First gives me the best deal on checking. It's totally free. And with supermarket banking, I get the longest banking hours in the state. And more time to do what I like doing best.
Attention shoppers. Green light special, aisle 6.
Excuse me?
We make banking simple, and we're the First.
The Van Pattens meet one tough customer.
Dick Van Patten, you're saying someone can oil and lube my car better than me?
Yes, it's called Jiffy Lube. In 10 minutes, the J-Team changes the oil with a major brand, replaces the filter, and lubes the chassis, fills the fluids, 14 services in all.
Okay, but how much?
So welcome to Jiffy Lube.
J-Team, this looks like the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Visit the Jiffy Lube nearest you.
Monday, the Phantom of the Opera, Michael Crawford.
And Richard Simmons.
All Tiger Paws lead the Clemson, South Carolina, and Death Valley. Inside, some 80,000 now preparing to watch their beloved Tigers take on the Florida State Seminoles as Bobby Bowden brings a team to play in Death Valley for the first time in his illustrious career. Note the white pants. The first time that they have worn white pants since 1958. They had a running back by the name of Burt Reynolds. He remembers the white pants. He likes them so much that he purchased them for the football team here today. And at the other end of the stadium, well, the Clemson team prepared to board the buses, and then they were brought around to the top of the hill. There are the buses at the far end of the stadium. And they drove around behind the stadium, and they are now poised at the top of the hill. They will all come down and touch the famous rock as they pour onto the floor of Death Valley, South Carolina. And let's go down to Pat O'Brien. Pat.
All right, Brent, thank you. I'm on the hill where some of the biggest names in Clemson football have come down this hill. William Perry, Dwight Clark, Charlie Waters, and hundreds of players you probably never heard of, but they're all part of this tradition. The Rock. It was brought here September 19th, 1942 by the legendary Frank Howard. He said it had mystical powers. The players touched it on that day, and they won by 20 points. Now, this is the 202nd time they'll come running down this hill, said to be one of the greatest spectacles in college sports. Football fans, let's enjoy one of the most exciting 30 seconds in the game.
Clemson and Florida State coming your way on CBS in just a moment.
CBS Sports presents college football. Live from Memorial Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina. It's the Florida State Seminoles versus the Clemson Tigers. Today's CFA game is sponsored by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. AC Delco, automotive parts that don't just fit, they match. And by Michelob. Michelob is a proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team.
Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is cold, I will feel a glow just thinking of you in the way you look tonight. Lovely, don't you ever change, 'cause I love you just the way you look tonight.
One taste will tell you why.
Just the way you look tonight.
The night belongs to Michelob.
Listen to the heartbeat of America. Listen to the heartbeat of America. Oh yeah.
Chevy Beretta Sport Coupe. Designed to help you look better, engineered to help you drive better, and priced to let you live better.
Too many people think a spark plug's a spark plug. Well, all spark plugs aren't alike. These AC copper core plugs match my car's specs like rounds in a chamber, firing up to 30 times a second for up to 30,000 miles of high revving firepower.
Precision AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
Keep your car running the way it was made to run.
Now get up to $8.80 back on AC filters and plugs. See your retailer for details.
A sea of orange in Death Valley as Richie Andrews of the Seminoles prepares to kick it off. Florida State winning the toss, electing to defer. Clemson thus will receive. Clemson wearing its lucky orange pants. But Danny Ford has not been that lucky playing in the rain. Under Coach Ford, who has been here for 10 years, they are 7-3-1 in soggy conditions. This is Henderson, 2 yards deep, and he'll bring it out. Does not get to the 20-yard line. Reagans brings him down. Rodney Williams will bring Clemson to the attack. The senior quarterback, Tracy Johnson, the fullback, Joe Henderson, his first start. The wide receivers are talented, but they don't throw to him very often. They also have Cooper. He's the third one to watch. The tight end is a blocker, James Coley. Now, the offense features the toss play, a dangerous play in wet, soggy conditions. There were some difficulties in that toss during pregame warm-ups. Let's see what they feature to begin with. Williams, the signal caller. They'll run the fullback, the conservative first down. He gets to the 20 before Keith Carter, number 59, slams him down. The offensive line from Darien, Connecticut. The anchor is Jeff Back. Alongside him, Eric Harmon and Hank Phillips, whose brother played here. The tackles, DeLulius and Nunemacher. They are very good in that offensive line, and they're extremely deep. The offensive line could well determine the outcome of a game on a soggy field. Now it is 2nd and 5 for Williams. In motion behind him. Here's the first toss, and this is Allen who brought the play in short of a first down. The Seminole defense here this afternoon. Odell Higgins in the middle. He has been slowed by an injured ankle. Senior and Gabbard alongside him. The inside linebackers, Carter and Hayes. Outside, Moss and Hadley. Someone must step up and become the leader of this bunch. Deion Sanders does a superb job in the secondary, but they need one up front. 3rd and 2 now for Clemson. Johnson for the first down.
If Clemson's going to win today, they want to get themselves in 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 3. That is their kind of football. They run the ball, power football at you, get you in 3rd and 2, and give it to their big backs. That time, Johnson over a nice block by DeLulius, the left tackle.
That's secondary for Florida State. Deion and Tracy Sanders, not related. And the safeties are excellent. Shiver and Butler, they must have a big game here this afternoon. Now it is 1st and 10. The ball is at the Clemson 30-yard line. Cooper in motion. Johnson again up the middle as they pound away at Coach Bobby Bowden's midsection. Gabbard makes the stop.
It's amazing to me that Clemson has been able to run this ball early in the game, Brent, because she has an 8-man front. It's really, you're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out of the picture is 7, and the strong safety's been up here. An 8-man front. They are daring Clemson to throw the football.
Nothing fancy about Clemson. The vanilla attack, you must break them down man for man. They'll come right at you. 2nd and 6. Here's the toss play to Allen from the right side, and Allen is met with good resistance that time by the Seminoles. Felton Hayes, 46, the first to hit him, and he had a lot of help. Tracy Sanders, number 16, was also in on the stop. They must get to the 40 for a first down. Make it a 3rd and 3.
Clemson is a very good option team and a very good draw team.
All 3 of the wide receivers are out there. On 3rd and 3, they show a slot formation to the left. And they will run Allen for another first down as he busts off to midfield. 12-yard burst without a tight end. So they spread out the Florida State defense and attacked it with the run.
They spread the defense to try to prevent the 8-man front. But watch Tracy Johnson, the fullback, who really clears the way on the sprint draw to number Allen. Watch the left-hand side of your screen. The fullback, number 42, kicks out of the linebacker, and that's the sprint draw that they feature on 3rd and 4 and 5. A very good draw team.
Opening series for the Tigers of Clemson. First down at midfield. Hooper is the motion man. Williams keeps it off the option and busts out for 6 yards before Derek Dodge, 28, tackles him.
Rodney Williams is a quarterback here. He's been a starter for 4 years, and he's a guy that's come under some criticism here because he's not a flashy type of runner player, but he does know how to run the option. He moves his team, and he wins football games, and that's all that Danny Ford cares about with his offense.
Play is brought in from Coach Ford's sideline. Jennings and Cooper are the wide men. They bring Jennings in motion, and they run Allen. He is short of the first down. They will be in 3rd and short again, however, as Eric Hayes, 78, in on that stop.
And it brings up the third and short in this series. Their 8th play and 8 runs, but all the 3rd downs have been right where Clemson wants. Danny Ford says he can win the game if he gets in 3rd and 2.
And here he is again. It is a short 3. Johnson, and they pitch it out to Allen for another first down. Slick ball handling by Rodney Williams.
Terrific play selection by Chuck Reedy, the offensive coordinator. But watch the quarterback as he sells it. He fakes the ball to the fullback. He's been carrying the ball all day. You have to respect the fullback. And then Rodney Williams makes a beautiful pitch right out in front of Allen, and that ball's easy to catch.
There are 3 of 3 in those 3rd down situations. They have advanced the ball down to the Florida State 33-yard line for a 1st and 10. Cooper is in the slot to the right. The fullback moves right straight ahead. Eric Hayes in the middle of that.
And just incredible, the Florida State defense continues to play an 8-man front, and yet Clemson is still being able to run the ball. They are daring them to throw the football, and if they get a chance, they're going to have some receivers one-on-one with some very talented corners from Florida State.
So this puts Clemson in a 2nd and 11 as Williams was stopped that time. 7 Seminoles up on the line. They forced Clemson to throw it. There's a bad snap on the exchange. Williams pulled away early. Ball was on the ground on the exchange.
When you play in rainy conditions like this, it's up to the quarterback to stay in a little bit longer to make sure you don't have bad exchanges. It's the quarterback's responsibility to hang in there and give the center as much help as he can.
Cooper, Hooper, and Jennings, the wide receiver. Sounds like a law firm. Third and 11. They'll test Rodney's arm this time. Straight back. The far sideline, caught out of bounds.
He said Gary Cooper was out of bounds here. Remember, you have to come down with at least 1 foot in college football. The ball is pretty well thrown, although he leaves him too far away from the defender. His foot is on the line there, and that's out of bounds. Good call by the official.
And good defense by Felton Hayes. Chris Gardocki is the freshman field goal kicker here at Clemson. He is also expected to handle the punting duties here this afternoon. So the additional burden on the two-step punter against a ferocious rush sometimes from Florida State. The punt block is always a possibility. An unusual defensive alignment from Florida State. They send no one back, and Gardocki hangs one, and it goes into the end zone.
Big error there, kicking that ball into the end zone. You got to get the ball out inside the 10-yard line from there.
So when you come back, it'll be Florida State's ball. 1st and 10 at their own 20.
On the road again, going places that I've never been, seeing things that I may never see again. I can't wait to get on the road again.
For high-performance protection, look to Valvoline High Performance Motor Oil. Valvoline with special formulas to help keep cars like yours on the road and on the road again. Motor oil is not just motor oil.
The Cavalry. America's frontier looked to them for insurance. Today, the Kemper Cavalry provides quality protection for your home, auto, life, and business. Once you compare Kemper, you'll ride with us.
So, was the Army what you expected?
Well, I joined for the college money, but you know I'm getting more than that.
The GI Bill and Army College Fund. Qualify and you'll get over $25,000 for tuition and an edge on life.
This is what American Airlines does better than anyone else. Arrive on time, again and again. In fact, American has the best on-time arrival record of the 9 largest domestic airlines. American Airlines, the on-time machine.
2 conference collisions. The Vikings try to overthrow the Bears. The Giants battle the Cowboys. A doubleheader tomorrow on CBS Sports.
No score in Clemson, South Carolina. With Pat Hayden and Pat O'Brien, I'm Brent Musburger. Florida State and Clemson. Now the Seminole offense. Chip Ferguson, again their starting quarterback, but a change at running back. Dane Williams will go at fullback, but Dexter Carter has replaced Sammy Smith as the starting tailback. Outside receivers are talented. Terry Anthony and Ronald Lewis. Reggie Johnson moves in as the starting tight end. Interestingly enough, it is somewhat better to throw in these conditions early rather than late.
Well, the field is still in good shape.
First down, they run the fullback right straight ahead into the middle of that Clemson defense, and Rich McCullough is there to make the stop on Williams. The rest of the offensive line, Kuipers this year, has been moved to center, and they have had some difficulty at guard. Injuries and inexperience. Mike Morris and Hayward Haynes are there. Ionata and Tomberlin, 300-pound Pat Tomberlin, the All-American prospect, starting at that tackle. He was the big fellow when they needed yards. Right now they need 7 of them. Ferguson to throw on second down under a ferocious rush. Cannot get away from John Johnson, the blitzing backer.
It was Mark Gregg, the nose man, who put the early pressure on Ferguson. 2 weeks ago, the center, Jason Kuipers, had a tough time blocking the rush. Watch the nose tackle right here. He's going to make a quick run and get into Ferguson very quickly. And on the outside, you're going to see number 12, John Johnson, get in. You see drag number 85, beat Kuipers very quickly. He's got a great swim move. Gets right over the center, and then Johnson makes the tackle.
Victor Floyd checks in at fullback to face this Clemson defense after that 9-yard loss. 3rd and 16 for the Seminoles. And they run the draw play with Floyd, and a terrific run out of trouble. He stepped out of bounds with a first down for Florida State. A great play call as the Tigers were looking elsewhere. And there is a penalty marker down. They're bringing it back.
It was not really a surprising call on 3rd and long when you're backed up. I'm surprised the Clemson team didn't do a better job of defending it. That was just excellent execution there by the offense. And Victor Floyd picked up a couple of nice inside blocks and saw where the markers were.
Strong block on Lott, the corner on that side, taking him back out of the play. But it is all for naught. Bringing it back. Holding on that offense. Up update on the Michigan State-Notre Dame game last Saturday night. The Irish beating Michigan in that drama in South Bend. West Virginia, a sleeper for the title. A big one later on when Penn State goes in there. And LSU beating up on Tennessee. We look forward to seeing LSU in a couple of weeks down in Gainesville. Pat, that'll be a dandy. Florida and LSU. Dexter Carter now swinging wide to the right side. Ball's loose. Ball came out. And it will be 4th down. Victor Floyd wrapped up the loose ball, but it was a shaky first series by Florida State.
And terrific defense there by Clemson, aided by a penalty. And now Donald Wolford, one of the country's best punt returners, has a chance to put the Clemson offense on a short playing field.
In a battle of field position, advantage Clemson. Florida State cannot advance beyond the 20. Tim Corlew standing inside his 5-yard line. He'll hang one now to Wolford. Showdown between Wolford and Deion Sanders. Driven back to the 35 on a strong punt and a great break of that first tackle. And there are penalty markers down all over the field. It was a 47-yard punt and a 7-yard return.
What I like about both of these punt returners that we're going to see today, Wolford and Sanders, they don't dance around. When they get the ball, they get right upfield. And that's why they're averaging 11 to 15 yards a punt return.
The clip on the return. That'll set Clemson back.
You know, they've been averaging about 7 penalties a game. That concerns Danny Ford.
He wants to know the number of the player who is guilty of that clip. We'll be right back. Scoreless first quarter. Here it is scoreless in the first quarter. Clemson wearing their lucky orange uniforms, pants and jerseys. Florida State breaks out the white pants for the first time since the late 50s. They were purchased by actor Burt Reynolds. 1st and 10 for the Tigers. Ball at the 26, and Williams completes the first pass he has thrown to Jennings, who has carried out of bounds by Tracy Sanders.
And Brett, that play is going to be there all day if Florida State continues to play the 8-man front. It's one-on-one out here with Jennings and Sanders. Remember, Jennings is 6'4". He's a big old target. He's 235 pounds. And he just goes down there, hooks up for a very easy throw.
Ball is spotted at the 31.
Well, Jennings is a great blocker too, Brett. Really can, when there's an option play on the corner, he can make a 15-yard gain out of a 5-yard run with his blocking.
Schools turned out some superb wide receivers. Dwight Clark, Jerry Butler were the better ones to come out of Death Valley. Ball on the ground. Rodney Williams kept it a little too long that time. The referee indicating that Clemson recovered the fumble as Williams went diving back after it and grabbed it in time.
You know, Brett, sometimes that'll happen when you're playing on a wet day. You're so careful. He's holding the ball in the fullback's lap a little bit too long, and he tipped it there, and he fumbled down there on the ground. Holding the ball in the fullback's stomach too long.
Oklahoma leading Arizona by 4. Penn State over Boston College in the 3rd, and Colorado shutting out Buckeyes. 3rd and 4 for Clemson. The pitch after the fake to the fullback, and Allen out of bounds at the 39-yard line. A first down for the Tigers. Great setting here. Downstairs to Pat O'Brien. Pat.
All right, Brent, thank you. To tell you how soggy and wet they expect it to be today, they usually use 6 game balls in a football game. Today they have 12 balls in rotation and 36 balls in here, just so they can have dry balls on the field. And Pat Hedden playing for Southern Cal, you probably never had that problem, did you?
I was a wimp, Pat. We never played in the rain. You're right. I couldn't play in this kind of weather.
1st and 10 for the Tigers. Here comes the end around, and they're going to throw off it. Plenty of time. They go downfield. He's all alone. Cooper's got it for a touchdown. Gary Cooper from Chip Davis. 61-yard Clemson touchdown. Potatoes football program turns to a little witchcraft.
You know, the defender was number 28, Derek Dodge, Brett, really had it pretty well covered, but then fell down, and Cooper came wide open. A terrific play call after you've been running the fullback all game, though. I like it.
Rusty Sile will attempt the extra point. Morocco is the holder. Extra point is good, and Clemson leads Florida State 7-0.
Here is Chip Davis, the wide receiver who came out around in the reverse. Gary Cooper, perhaps the best athlete on this team after Derek Dodge fell down. Easy catch for the score.
Some car warranties give you protection on your powertrain beyond the first year, which is fine if you are only buying a powertrain. But GM is the only American manufacturer to protect the powertrain and the thousands of other parts that go into all our 89 cars and light trucks. Everything. For 3 years or 50,000 miles. It covers parts, labor, and towing. The GM Bumper to Bumper Plus warranty. Longer protection for more of your car or truck.
Give me a break. How's that, Nick? I mean, 76 may be the biggest name in racing, but dig this guy who thinks he's Richard Petty. Hey, Nick. The cowboy hat, the sunglasses, using 76 gasolines, just like the king. Oh, now he's signing autographs. Nick. Boy, some people.
Howdy. Hi, Mr. Petty. How do you?
Petty. He even sounds like, Hi, Richard. Petty. Richard Petty.
The spirit of 76.
Can I have your autograph? Just sign it to my best friend, Nick.
This year, as the Olympic spirit burns proudly in your heart, why not wear this proudly on your chest? Michelob Light's free U.S. Olympic team pin. Visit this display for details.
BASF videotape. No matter how many times you play it or record over it, even after 500 plays, the original brilliance always comes through on BASF.
Chip Davis out of Evans, Georgia, which is in the Augusta area, throws a touchdown pass, and as a high school quarterback, he threw 18 touchdown passes, rushed and passed for 2,208 yards. He completed 83% of his passes, and that touchdown throw for Clemson, their first touchdown pass of the year. And another one of the traditions here, the mascot will do push-ups. Cumulative. That's his first 7 of the afternoon. He likes those low-scoring dogfights, won about 10-3 by the home team. Sile to kick it off. And back deep for the Seminoles, Carter and Ross.
Florida State special teams, Brent, are going to have to come up with a big play in this kind of environment. Get themselves back to some momentum.
Half-inch of rain has fallen. It will be tough going in the second half of this game. Stepping out of bounds is Ross. Penalty flag is thrown there. Is that where he marked it, or was he calling a penalty on that? Was he already out of bounds? An illegal catch? Did the kick go out? Will they penalize the kicking team? They'll back him up. Let's take a look at that touchdown.
Watch from the left-hand side of your screen. You're going to see Chip Davis come around, but it's the sequencing of plays. They ran the option so many times. They ran the fullback. They fake it to him. Chip Davis comes around, and he's going to throw the ball downfield to the wide receiver, Cooper. But sequencing of plays is always the key in college football. They ran the option that time. They faked it. They pitch it out to Davis. Derek Dodge, number 28, had him pretty well covered, then slips on the wet turf right there, and then Cooper outruns him. That's a nice throw by Davis. Gave the ball plenty of air to a wide open receiver and let Cooper just run underneath it.
And a happy number 7. Clemson, after the 5-yard penalty, kicks it off to Ross again. And he gives gives Florida State a first down at the 37. Well, it's doubleheader Sunday coming up tomorrow on CBS. The NFL Today starts it at 12:30 Eastern time. Many of you early will see Minnesota, Chicago. That's the rest of the early lineup tomorrow. Late, Giants and Dallas, Rams and the Raiders. Atlanta goes out to San Francisco after the Joe Montana heroics a week ago in Giant Stadium. Like a lightning bolt, he hit Jerry Rice to pull one out. Now it is Chip Ferguson and the Seminoles. They trail 7-0 against Clemson. On first down, throws complete over the middle to his tight end. And that was number 80, Reggie Johnson. And another penalty marker is down.
One of the reasons they started Reggie Johnson today at tight end rather than O'Malley was they wanted to get the tight end more involved in the passing game and get the ball downfield.
Defensive holding.
Either way, they're going to have the first down. I believe they'll take the reception.
Coach Ford getting an explanation. Been here 10 years. Back in '81 at the age of 33. He became the youngest head coach ever to win a national championship. And because of the conference and the way they're positioned, this team really has a bit of a mini football dynasty in the ACC. Some of the schools up north in this conference, better known for basketball, North Carolina and Duke. But down here in Clemson, football is king.
Danny's upset because they assessed that penalty after the reception. So it must have been a late foul.
ACC battle there. Ivy League underway. First and 10 for the Seminoles. Carter. Short of the 40-yard line. Does not get much. That was J.C. Harper, 77, 6'5", 265, a hometown product who hit him first.
His father is the defensive coordinator, Tom Harper, and his father told me yesterday he inherited all that slowness that I had. That's why he doesn't start him. But they rotate a lot of players in this team. 29 Clemson players made tackles in the first game.
But he's got some of that football savvy of his daddy.
That's what you say when a guy's slow. He's got savvy.
Second and 9. Against the 5-man front. Ferguson to throw. Complete on a no drop. Dawsey should have had it. Bobbled the ball. He was open underneath. James Lott, number 5, came up and delivered a blow.
And you like this kind of call on a rainy day. It's just a little short pass to Dawsey as he's crossing over the middle. You try to get to the ball to a guy who can run after he catches it, but he was thinking about too much about the run and not enough about the catch. They had it set up beautifully, though.
Reggie Johnson brings the play in from the sideline. Dave Roberts back out. That's Anthony, number 8. Dawsey, 29, to the top of your screen. Off a fake. Ferguson sets the screen to Carter, and it was read beautifully by Mervyn Green, number 99.
That's a terrific play for a nose tackle. Watch 99, the nose tackle, is going to be over the center. His responsibility is to take anything inside the draws, but when he reads screen, watch, he'll read the offensive lineman on the screen, and that's a heads-up play for Green. Fights through a couple of guys, sees all the blocks and the running backs, and then lumbers 280 pounds over to make the tackle.
Corlew gets it off, hangs it high and short. It'll roll dead at the 24-yard line. So Clemson, with a 61-yard touchdown, will take possession after a weak 22-yard punt. The Tigers leading Florida State 7-0 here in Death Valley.
Brent, so far this game has been what I've expected. Clemson playing strong defense and running the ball, running the option, running their draw plays, and really not throwing the ball much, although the one touchdown came off the
Did you agree with us when we said they had the wrong favorite? Florida State came in here favored by 2 to 3 points, and it seemed strange because Clemson has the home field advantage here today. Williams barking the signals. That was Coley, the tight end who moved to the other side. Now they're going to try to turn Henderson loose, and he has stopped that time. Keith Carter, 59, out of Miami, hitting him first.
And Keith Carter is a very strong inside linebacker, particularly on runs inside the tackles. He's not going to make too many tackles way on the sweeps, but inside he is tough on off-tackle plays.
Rutgers playing strong again. Baylor over Iowa State in the third quarter down in the Southwest. Princeton leading Cornell in the Ivy League. Here it is 2nd and 11 for Clemson. They lead Florida State 7-0. This is McFadden, the backup fullback. No daylight there. Felton Hayes was not knocked out of the play. So they didn't have much blocking over there at the point of attack.
Important down here early in this game for the Florida State defense. They have Clemson in 3rd and 10. That is not their kind of situation, not their kind of down. They need to force the punt, get good field position, and get something on the board.
Ohan checks in at tight end. After the 2-yard gain, it'll be 3rd and 9. Ball for Clemson. Just short of the 25. From the slot, they throw underneath, and it is bobbled. Cooper got a hand on it, but actually the ball was thrown a little bit too far in front of it. Would have been a tough catch for the wide receiver. And Clemson will be punting to the ever-dangerous Deion Sanders, a leading candidate to win the Jim Thorpe Award as the top defensive back in the nation. His #1 competition, Donnell Wolford, wearing number 20, returns punts and plays corner for Clemson. The 10-man rush is set against him. The freshman, one step and gone from Stone Mountain, Georgia. And Deion signals for the fair catch in the wet weather today at the 41-yard line. A 34-yard punt by the freshman, and it'll be 1st down for the Seminoles.
Boy, the way Florida State goes after so many punts is like Canadian football. Deion's back there all by himself returning punts sometimes.
Dexter Carter, still the tailback for the Seminoles. He replaced Sammy Smith as the starter today. Victor Floyd is now the fullback. Tom O'Malley, the tight end. They fake the draw. Ferguson rolls and throws to Floyd. And that is a strong 8-yard gain before he is taken out of bounds on the far side.
And a wonderful play call by Wayne McDuffie, the offensive coordinator. You fake the counter flow, the little playoff tackle. Ferguson rolls away from the rush because he's been under duress, and then finds Floyd out in the flat, and he's the man they had faked to.
Inside of a minute left in the first quarter here in Clemson. The Tigers leading the Seminoles 7-0. 2nd and 1 with the ball at midfield. Floyd straight ahead for the 1st down, or no, he might have been a little short of it. I might have called that a little too quickly. Let's see where they spot that ball and what the measurement shows us here. It's going to be very, very close. Pat, what's sort of an overview of what we've seen so far from these two teams in the rain in South Carolina?
Well, there's Sammy Smith looking on. He is number 33. He is the man they hope to get a lot of big plays from this year. We'll see what he's done in his career, but he's off to a very, very slow start this year. Only gained 48 yards. But overall, I think we've seen Clemson run the ball, which we expected. Here's his comparison to a year ago. First 2 games. Really's been injured some the first 3 games, Brent.
They were just short. 3rd and inches. Williams is the fullback, and Ferguson to throw it, swings it out to Carter on 3rd and short. 1st down for the Seminoles. Lott forced to make the tackle, and a penalty marker comes down. There was an unexpected call by the Seminoles, but of course that is Bobby Bowden. That's what he features, the unexpected. Obvious face mask against the Tigers, we were told by our producer, Michael Burks.
You're going to see the face mask, but it's a terrific play by James Lott because he is out here all by himself, and he's got a blocker on him. He fights off Ionata, the blocker there, and is there to make the tackle. But there's clearly the face mask. But Bobby Bowden has always been a student of World War II and war history. He thinks the element of surprise is the greatest thing you can have in a football game.
Danny Ford is a student of search and destroy. Let's go mano-mano. Well, the Fighting Irish closing in. They continue to lead Michigan State, and we get word that it is now a final. No Notre Dame wins for the second straight week, beating Michigan State. So they have done business in the state of Michigan.
And Brent, one of our favorite guys, I think Reggie Ho had another big day.
Well, we've come to the end of the first quarter. We'll check on that, Pat. Clemson 7, Florida State nothing. College football on CBS will return after this message and a word from your local station.
What gives you lots of hot water the lowest cost way?
Nothing does it like gas.
What lets you wash for less money to save every day?
Nothing does it like gas.
What heats water so efficiently it's half the cost of electricity?
Nothing does it, no, nothing does it like gas.
And if you're beyond gas service, use propane.
For hot water, for cooking, home heating, or drying.
Choose gas, America's best energy value.
I never knew I even liked this house until after the fire. Then I remembered all the work I'd done on it. And after 9.5 years, you can't exactly call it a starter home anymore. So I was glad we could fix it up and live here. And have enough sense to love it this time.
Nationwide is on your side.
Cars aren't cheap, never have been. That's why I never take shortcuts with cheap oil and air filters. Give me AC filters every time. AC filters match the original specs on my cars like a nut on a bolt.
Precision AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
Keep your car running the way it was made to run.
Now get up to $8.80 back on AC filters and plugs. See your retailer for details.
This is CBS.
In the last 2 years, where did 300,000 Americans who used to own GM cars go? Where else? And where's the September clearance where you could save on the car that got 41,000 GM owners to switch? And on the car that got 38,000 GM owners to switch? Where else? So where will you find big savings during the great September clearance? Where else? But at your Heart of the South Lincoln Mercury dealer.
My twin brother Bill here has decided to hire a celebrity to do our new Peeler's Dairy commercials. He feels that people will rush out to buy Peeler's Farm Fresh milk if they know it's endorsed by a well-known personality. Any sign yet? You see, we know Peeler's milk tastes good and is farm fresh, but Bill believes it would have more impact coming from somebody famous. Gave her directions, didn't you? Well, at any rate, we'll get started in a minute or two. Right, Bill? Right.
Eyewitness News, weeknights at 6 and 11.
From the beautiful state of South Carolina, Clemson leading Florida State 7-0. Notre Dame, meanwhile, makes it 2-0 as Reggie Ho, their hero of last Saturday night, goes 2 for 2 this afternoon against Michigan State. It was 20-3. The Irish win it over the Spartans. That's the final score. Ferguson handing off to Carter, and an orange came out of the stands down there near the 35-yard line. Already Coach Ford has been told by the officials that they don't want to see that fruit thrown out of the stands down here because obviously someone can be injured.
Florida State is a much more versatile team when Dexter Carter, number 13, is in the ballgame because he's such a dangerous receiver out of the backfield. And for a small guy, he's a tough inside runner.
2nd and 7. Williams and Carter split backs. Anthony and Lewis the wide men. And a great defensive effort by Mark Dragg, number 85. And a penalty marker is down.
Mark Dragg, I watched film of him this week. He is so quick. And Brenny's got that great swim move. He'll take the arm and whip it right over the center's head, and he gets in the backfield very, very quickly. That time the guard, number 60, Mike Morris, tried to, well, he did wrestle him down there, didn't he? Very, very difficult to block Mark Dragg off the line of scrimmage. He's a guy who really didn't want to play much nose guard, Brent, but felt it was the only place in the team we'd have a chance to play.
Deep and talented in that defensive line and at the linebacking spot. This team at Clemson figures to feature defense, field position, kicking all year long. It was declined. So it will be second down, make it third down now. It is longer than that. In fact, they put the ball back at the 41-yard line. It's 3rd and 15. Ferguson straight back. Throws to the far side. Open is Carter, and Carter is in for a touchdown. Touchdown, Florida State. A 40-yard pass from Ferguson to Carter, who slipped out of the backfield and went down the far sideline.
Ferguson has really started off hot. He is 5 of 6 today, had 1 ball dropped, but that ball was beautifully thrown. A lot of touch on the ball, made it easy to catch for Carter.
In the rain, 2 long scoring passes so far in this game. Andrews to attempt the extra point. Left foot is up, and this game is tied.
Brent, we just talked about how they're more versatile with Dexter Carter in the backfield. This time he lines up the backfield, runs all the way down the left side, and outruns the defender. The ball is thrown in beautifully for the easy score.
The linebacker could not stay with him. And we'll be back with Florida State and Clemson tied.
Listen to the heartbeat of America. Listen to the heartbeat of America. Oh, yeah.
The new Chevrolet Corsica, the sports sedan that knows you have more important things to spend your money on, like your family.
Ooh, the heartbeat of America. Chevrolet. Today's Chevrolet.
This is a car. This is a Big A Pro Auto Repair Shop that uses quality Big A parts to service your car. This is a Big A Auto Parts store where you can buy said parts to work on your car yourself. This is the Big A Road to Savings, during which you can get great deals at this and this for this. And this is one of my vacation slides of my twin brother.
Look for the Big A Road to Savings going on now.
Right through the tire, Greg.
To be the best, you have to train constantly. Leadership demands continuous learning.
Way to go.
In sports or in business. We're Siemens USA, training our customers and our 27,000 employees to stay ahead in advanced electronic and electrical technology. Because when it's time to perform, there's no substitute for solid training.
Right through the tire, Greg.
We are Siemens USA.
Well, congratulations to Bobby Bowden, not only for getting a touchdown out of his Seminoles, but he and his wife Ann became grandparents again early this morning. Their daughter Ginger gave birth to a son in Fort Walton Beach, and the father is John Madden. Now, big fella, don't come off the couch like that. It's not our John Madden. It's another John Madden. In fact, he played for Bobby down at Florida State. He was a center for the Seminoles, and Papa's over there on the sideline right now with Grandpapa.
Brett, a kind of unusual defense here by Clemson. They don't think Chip Ferguson can scramble much. They play 2 men at the nose tackle right there to try to create some indecision up front. But here is Dexter Carter, and he's just going to outrun the strong safety, number 39, Arlington Nunn. Left part of the screen. The thing I like about this throw is he was open, and he didn't try to really drill it in there. Just let it, nice easy throw, let it run underneath it.
So Florida State will kick it off. 13:46 to go here in the first half. McFadden and Henderson standing back on their own 2-yard line. A short kick. They collide. It's down and loose on the fumble. But Joe Henderson was able to fall on the loose ball. The 2 deep men came up and they collided. A miscommunication back there as no one called who was to receive it.
I got it, you take it, is generally the man on the left side who's got the responsibility of calling it, whether he's got it or the man on the far right's going to take it.
And Clemson's third fumble of the season, but they have not lost one yet. Their second team turned it over once last week. They've been very tough in not turning the ball over. McFadden stays in as the fullback and pounds right ahead for a couple of yards. Eric Hayes, number 78, in on that stop. Pat O'Brien, what have you got?
Brent, as you know, besides being very wet here, it's also one of the noisiest places in the world. But Bobby Bowden this week took his players onto his field back at Florida State, put a Rolling Stones concert through the loudspeakers. I think it worked. I don't think the noise is bothering them. Let's go back to you.
His players are too young to know anything about the Rolling Stones. That's your vintage. Williams on the roll, incomplete, ball bounce. Keith Jennings was the intended receiver there, number 87. Good to Somerville, South Carolina, over toward the East Coast. West Virginia rolling. Look at that scoring machine for Coach Naylor. Temple leading Navy by a field goal at the half. Harvard over Columbia, so the losing streak may continue. Now it is 3rd and 7 for the Tigers. 7-man front. They run Henderson and no daylight. Hayes again. Eric Hayes, 78, the first man to get a hand on him. And Danny Ford not happy about 3 downs and out. The ball control team loves to get you a couple of first downs at least and then punch you back deep in your own territory. Here, Deion Sanders can give the Seminoles another field position opportunity, or Florida State can rush the freshman punter. They'll show that 10-man front. Brought down, 1 step and off. Sanders at the 44-yard line, looking for daylight. Slick move, comes across midfield. 9-yard return by Deion Sanders, who is one of the best all-around athletes in college sports. Track star, football All-American, and also played great baseball in the Yankee organization. We'll be right back.
The unknown. The unforeseen. Every business faced it, especially those that stood alone on the frontier. And the cavalry was there for protection, for peace of mind. Today, the Kemper Cavalry guards business against loss. For your business insurance needs, contact an independent agent who represents Kemper. Once you compare Kemper, you'll ride with us.
Apparently, people are beginning to think that stopping here is a good thing to do, because more people are coming here than ever before. Our high detergent, super clean, unleaded gasolines might be one reason. Or maybe it's that cash or credit are the same low price. Whatever it is, we'd like for you to stop by too. Who knows? You may find your own reason.
In 1.3 billion years, our sun will burn out, leaving us in total darkness. We say it's never too early to stock up for the big night. Shouldn't your night belong to Michelob Light?
By signing up now in the Army's delayed entry program, any skill training I choose is mine when I graduate. Guaranteed.
Be all that you can be. Getting it on life in the Army.
It stunned all of us a couple of weeks ago when Miami buried Florida State, and we asked the players their thoughts about that night in the Orange Bowl.
We came out of the game and, you know, no one knew what happened really. It was a nightmare for us.
Well, you know, we felt sort of devastated because, you know, we were really up for the game, and it was a really big game for us.
I don't think one person really had a good game against Miami. And, you know, usually it's 1 or 2 guys, you know, but not the whole team.
Embarrassed. We was very embarrassed. Miami embarrassed us that night. It was the better football team that night.
And so here this afternoon in Clemson, the Seminoles determined to gain back some respect. Forget about dreaming again of a national championship. They just want folks to think better of their football program. 1st and 10 for Florida State. They're at the Clemson 47. The momentum has changed as Ferguson on the bootleg takes it out of bounds at the 40-yard line on the far side.
You know, Brent, I think it's so important for a quarterback to have the support of his coach, and that's what Chip Ferguson's had. He got some criticism after the Miami game. Last week he threw 2 interceptions, but yet Bobby Bowden has been fully behind Chip Ferguson, and Ferguson works his way out of it. It's been largely responsible, I think, giving him the confidence to do that. He handles quarterbacks very well.
This morning, Coach Bowden spoke to the Fellowship of Christian Athletes over in Greenville, nearby Clemson. Here's the 2nd down from Florida State. Ferguson keeps it, and this time drops off the pass for a 1st down to his tight end, Johnson. Beasley comes up to make the hit. Let's get an update from Jim Nantz in New York. Take it away, Jim.
Well, Brett, this just in. 55 seconds to go. After a block punt, Penn State's Ray Tarassi converts from 38 yards, and the Nittany Lions lead it 23-20 with 50 seconds to go. Back to Brenton Peck.
Surprising challenge by Boston College in that one. Penn State hoping to hold on. Jim will have all the details at halftime, of course, with the coach era. 1st and 10 for Florida State. Ball is inside the Clemson 35-yard line. Sammy Smith checks in. Off the fake, he goes out as a pass receiver. Dumped off incomplete by Ferguson. His receivers were covered, but the first appearance of the afternoon of number 33, Sammy Smith.
Ferguson didn't take the sack there. That is what he's been criticized for over the years, is taking too many sacks, but he dumped the ball off there. Sammy Smith, he is still, even though he's not starting off to a slow start this year, Brent, he is still an important part of this offense because he can go 70 or 80 yards every time he touches the ball. So you still have to find a way to get him the ball.
Bennett is the fullback, set in front of him. Lewis and Anthony, the wide receivers. They show end around, and Lewis is surrounded. Jesse Hatcher, the bandit, and Brewster was there defensively.
Jesse Hatcher, number 55, really does his job. He is just going to stay at home. All these guys are, and that's what you have to do against Florida State because the reverse is a regular part of their offense. Watch, 4 orange jerseys are there. They aren't fooled. That's good, disciplined defense.
Florida State having difficulty again on the ground. 10 carries for 4 yards is all they've mustered. Their scoring play was the touchdown pass, the long one from Ferguson to Carter. Ferguson looking again to throw, out of bounds, incomplete. Sammy Smith threw double coverage that time from Hatcher and Brewster. So that time the bandit dropped off. He picked up Sammy Smith and had him well covered. The punting unit comes onto the field for the Seminoles with 10:40 to go in the first half. We're tied at 7. 2 long scoring passes here so far. One off an end around by Clemson. Corlew standing and punting at zone 44. Hangs it high. Wolford will let it go down toward the end zone, and Florida State tries to down it.
Oh, it's terrific.
Right there at the 1-yard line.
That's fabulous special teams.
Leroy Butler was able to down it at the 1-yard line. Credit him with a 40-yard punt. Clemson in a hole.
Listen to the heartbeat of America. Listen to the heartbeat of America. Oh, yeah.
The legendary Chevy Camaro. Remember all the times you told yourself that someday you'd have one? Welcome to someday.
The heartbeat of America.
On the Western frontier, you can count on the cavalry to get you back on the road. Today, The Kemper Cavalry stands behind drivers. To ensure what you drive, compare Kemper. You'll ride with us.
This man takes vacations for a living. Don't let him take yours. So don't carry cash. Carry American Express traveler's checks. Don't leave home without them.
Too many people think a spark plug's a spark plug. Well, all spark plugs aren't alike. These AC copper core plugs match my car's specs like rounds in a chamber, firing up to 30 times a second for up to 30,000 miles of high revving firepower.
Precision AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
Keep your car running the way it was made to run.
Now get up to $8.80 back on AC filters and plugs. See your retailer for details.
Rodney Williams and the Clemson offense back on their own 1-yard line. There's a marvelous game within this game. Two great young defensive backs. Deion Sanders of Florida State starting to step up and assume a leadership role. Donnell Wolford of Clemson watching now from the bench over there. But the one thing that Bowden has needed with that defensive unit is leadership on the field.
I talked to Bobby this week, and that's exactly what Deion stepped to the forefront to do, to lead this defensive team.
1st and 10, and Rodney Williams likes to keep it himself, fearful of an exchange fumble down there. They love to run the toss play, but you would not expect to see it down here. Conservatively, they'll try to punch out a 1st down if they can, you would think.
Here's a situation where you like to give the ball to your big old fullback, Tracy Johnson, 230 pounds of him, real short legs, very difficult to bring down, and he's always going forward, never going sideways.
Williams standing back in his own end zone on 2nd and 10, sends Hooper in motion. There is the fullback stacked up at the line. Florida State pushing him back toward the goal line.
Terrific stuff inside by Felton Hayes, number 46, an easy read for him.
A lot of Florida State fans have driven up from Tallahassee. They're right down there and to the quarterback's right.
Watch Felton Hayes. He's just going to look right in here at the fullback. That is his key. When the fullback gets the ball, he steps up into the hole. There's a little crease right there. He puts his helmet there and drives Johnson back.
He's going to throw on it. He's got the back. Allen out to the 15 for a Clemson 1st down. Big play. Oh, did that take them out of a hole?
And you can say what you want about Rodney Williams, but in big games and big plays when they really need him, he gets the job done. The key really here was the wide receiver, Keith Jennings, took the defensive backs inside. Terry Allen at the I formation came and swung out behind him, and that put the defensive backs in a bind.
A little breathing room for the Tigers. Johnson banging behind the left side of his line, and there was Felton Hayes again out of Brandon, Florida, 6'1", 233 pounds.
Tracy Johnson is one of those fullbacks, again, who's not going to run sideways for you. He's only 6 feet, and he's got thighs like the size of New Hampshire. It's really tough to get your arms around the guy, and he's hard to bring down.
2nd and New Hampshire, huh?
I don't know where that came from.
Fullback again. Johnson short of a 1st down, but it will be 3rd and short as the result of that plunge. What's up, Pat O'Brien?
Brent, I've been watching feet for you down here. This is what the field looks like on the end, but as you walk out here, it's in pretty good condition. They have sand and a great drainage system here. Nobody's slipping much. Let's go back to you.
That down there in the right corner of the end zone. Stomping on that moisture down there. It has rained at least a ½ inch here so far today. On the 3rd and short, they fake to the fullback, the toss to Henderson, and the 1st down for Clemson. A A little more daring on 2 third-down plays here in this series by the Tigers.
It's the sequencing of plays that is really moving the chains here for Clemson. This is good hands by Terry Allen or Joe Henderson, because the ball was out in front of them, kept his eye on the ball, but they ran the fullback a couple of plays earlier twice, then they faked the ball to the fullback, pitch it out to Henderson.
Oh, he has come south from Freehold, New Jersey, and he has a bright future here in South Carolina. 1st and 10 now for the Tigers. That's Hooper in motion. And they toss to Henderson, who cuts and tries to turn it upfield. May have gotten a yard. That was Stan Shiver, who came up and forced the play for the Seminoles.
Interesting matchup today. Deion Sanders and the wide receivers for Clemson. This is number 87, Jennings, who again, he's 6'4", 230. He's trying to screen him out. A terrific blocker and really getting in his face. It's a good matchup today.
Now 2nd and 10 for the Tigers. Williams to the far sideline. Incomplete. He had him open. He had Gary Cooper wide open, and he overthrew him.
What I love about what Clemson is doing, Brent, though, is they're really setting up plays. They threw a short pass a couple times, right up. A couple times they ran down here and did this. This time they faked there, and then they went behind him for the deep throw. He was wide open. Watch the pump fake by Williams. This was set up earlier when they ran 2 of those. The defensive back is clearly fooled. He just needed a little bit more air on that ball.
Robbie Spector checks in at wide receiver for Clemson. He is down to Williams' left. They throw to Cooper, and Cooper is free at midfield. Deion Sanders, the fastest man on the field, comes over, and the penalty marker comes down on the tackle, which was up at the helmet.
Clemson throws underneath Sanders. Now Cooper, number 25, this should not have been a first down, but number 2, Spector, watch the block that he makes on Sanders. That allowed the first down. A terrific block for one wide receiver for Cooper led to the first down.
And the penalty will be tacked on because of the face mask penalty. Sanders grabbed a hold of the mask, so the ball will be placed at the 30-yard line, 1st and 10. Cooper with 2 receptions for 99 yards, including the touchdown throw from Chip Davis. So the blocking by the Clemson wide receivers becoming a factor in this game. Williams keeps it inside the 25-yard line before he's driven out of bounds on the near side by Smith. The NFL likes to come in here and take a look at these wide receivers. They do things besides run pass patterns.
But it's Chip Davis there and Hooper, number 26. And watch how far long they stay in front of those defensive backs. Most receivers are kind of wimps. They go there and they try to get in front of the guy, but they come really after him. They get right on their toes and go after him hard.
You'd never say that if you were still on the field with the Rams. Spoken by a former quarterback about those wimp receivers. Here's the fullback, and Johnson is hammered in the middle by Felton Hayes and Kelvin Smith. South Carolina with a lead, in Oklahoma over Arizona at the half. Iowa now back in a tie with Colorado. The Hawkeyes struggling. And Virginia beating Georgia Tech by a point in an ACC game. 3rd and short. 2 yards to go for the Tigers. Johnson and Allen. Remember where it started. Back on their own 1-yard line. That marvelous punt. Williams keeps it for the first down. Dives down close to the 15-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Tigers, and what an impressive march. Remember those 2 huge 3rd down calls, though, at the beginning of the drive, and now another one.
The quarterback can beat you with his head just as easily as he can with his arms. This was supposed to be a pitch, but Rodney Williams saw that there was nowhere to go on the pitch, so he kept the ball, dove upfield for the first down. That's a heads-up play by Williams.
Coley, the tight end. Jennings out wide to the right. Hooper is to the short side, the other wide receiver. Hooper now comes in motion, so that'll put him in a slot spot to lead the blocking. Allen turns it upfield inside the 15-yard line on the first down pop.
So Clemson has such a nice collection and variety of backs. They can give you Tracy Johnson, the big fullback, right up the middle. Then they'll pitch the ball to Terry Allen, who's a great cutback runner. And then they get the ball to Joe Henderson outside. So they can really mix it up depending upon what backs they give the ball.
Magnificent drive, isn't it?
Very good sequencing of plays.
This is really textbook football right now on this drive. Inside the 15, this is the 15th play of this drive coming up. Rodney Williams is tripped up. Rodney Williams tried to turn the corner, and number 81, Phil Carollo, out of Melville, New York, tripped him up. There he is, number 81. Here was the play from the half-yard line that kept this drive alive. They would have been forced to punt, but instead they threw to Allen coming out of the backfield, and 80 yards later they're down to the Seminoles' 15-yard line. It's 3rd and 6 for the Tigers. Williams, quick pop, complete. He hits Hooper inside the 10-yard line, close to a first down.
And terrific. Remember earlier they faked the short pass and went deep on the defensive back. That time the defensive back is so concerned now about getting beat deep that he gives him the big cushion. He drills the ball in there for the reception.
They'll bring the chains clear across the field to measure. Here on the near side, Tracy Sanders made a good tackle on that play too.
Remember, Sanders was concerned about getting beat by because Cooper did it earlier in the game. Gave him some cushion, but he did make a nice tackle.
That's short.
He's been successful on 3rd and short all day long with his fullback. Of course, all the players are telling the coach to go. You know what they're like.
They have held the ball for more than 7 minutes. Roger Riley, our stats man, tells us it's 7:19 exactly right now. And we've got 3:11 left here in the first half, and Coach Ford elects to use a timeout and bring Rodney Williams over to the sideline. So while we've got a stoppage in play, we'll take a break from Clemson, South Carolina, and we'll be right back with the score tied.
This is a brand new shop vac that comes with a surprise.
So where's the surprise?
In a minute. First, this baby picks up stuff like nails and glass like a regular shop vac.
So where's the surprise?
And like a regular shop vac wet dry, it also picks up water.
So where's the surprise?
Just watch. You twist the top, lift it off, and you've got a portable blower. A surprisingly powerful blower.
Shop vac. If it doesn't say shop vac, keep shopping.
Dentists warn, the #1 dental problem isn't cavities. It isn't tartar. It's plaque. Building up on your teeth every day. And no matter how much you brush, you don't get enough plaque off your teeth, especially in hard-to-reach places. The problem is plaque. The solution is Plaques. Rinse with Plaques before brushing, and you can remove 300% more plaque than brushing alone. Plaques, original flavor and soft mint, removes 300% more plaque than brushing alone.
The most up-to-date information. The inside word on what's happening. The pregame place to be. The NFL Today on CBS Sports.
Well, close by is one of the favorite haunts of Clemson students, and Pat O'Brien paid it a visit.
And this is the Esso Club. And if it looks like a gas station, you're right. But it is a combination gas station and watering hole. As it turns out, they don't sell gasoline at the Esso Club anymore, but they do sell a whole lot of water. On a big game like today, maybe 500-600 cases. In fact, my friend Chester here says all they sell here now is beer and sympathy for Florida State. But outside, Florida State got no sympathy as the Letterman's Club collected $2 to hit a car that represented FSU. And Brent, I don't know how they did this, but I hope you got a ride to the airport. Let's go back to you.
I think that's one of Brent Musburger's favorite hangouts, too.
They better send you that barbecue at halftime.
There we go.
What a great setting this is in South Carolina, western part of the state, close to the Georgia border. Not far from Greenville, Spartanburg. Great football fans, just as they are down in Tallahassee. They love their teams. Now, 3rd and inches. There's the first down. Johnson from the fullback spot, and the drive continues.
230 pounds of fullback. He's only 6 feet. He gets great leverage, and again, he's always upfield. Gets a nice block on the outside by his wide receiver, Jennings, and then does the rest himself. Realized he only needed a couple of inches, and when you do that, you give it to the fullback, a guy like Tracy Johnson.
Oh, that defense for Florida State's been on the field for a long, long time. 1st and goal. Williams keeps it. Touchdown, Clemson. Spectacular 99-yard scoring drive by the Clemson Tigers. Rusty Sile nails the extra point. 2:45 left in the first half. Clemson 14, Florida State 7.
Some guys know how to get the ball in the end zone. Rodney Williams is one of those guys. He's never going to remind you of Dan Marino, but he knows how to win, and he knows how to lead this team. A sensational drive, 99 yards for the Tigers. Great play selection.
In a drive where Danny Ford's Tigers faced 4 third downs and 1 fourth down, and the Tiger will give us 14 push-ups here in Clemson.
If you're thinking about Florida State, still plenty of time, 2:45 left in the half. Florida State has all 3 of their timeouts, and Chip Ferguson has been pretty hot.
A controversial figure here in South Carolina throughout much of his career, but this afternoon, Rodney Williams, one of the Tiger heroes. Sile puts the ball on the tee. He'll kick it off. His own 4-yard line elects to come out. Ross spins free and is down around the 33-yard line. Well, tomorrow we'll start our NFL coverage at CBS at 12:30 Eastern Time. Dick Butkus, Irv Cross, Will McDonough will be along. Irv was out and paid a visit to the Minnesota Vikings. We'll hear from Anthony Carter. They get ready for that big game in Soldier Field and Chicago. In the late games, the doubleheader game, Dick Butkus was down in Dallas. We'll see that training facility, and the Cowboys, coming off a Monday nighter, will play the Giants. Meanwhile, the Rams have the Raiders out in the Coliseum. And Michigan opens up with a field goal. So Gillette gets one to put them ahead of the top-ranked team in the country, and this is Floyd. No daylight. Vance Hammond, number 90, out of Spartanburg, South Carolina, making the stop.
Top of the screen, Vance Hammond. He is 6'7", 280, and he is a great pass rusher. He's going to, again, beat the lineman very quickly. Inside stunt. Runs right over Mike Morris, the offensive guard, and makes the tackle. Hammond's a great story. He's been coming to Clemson games his entire life.
Well, in that big one up in Fenway Park, it is 3-1, Red Sox over Yankees. That's in the bottom of the 8th inning. This is Sammy Smith. Mervyn Green leads the defense for the Big Orange.
Well, Sammy Smith just not seem just to be running with much confidence. He's a little bit tentative. I think he's one of those running backs, if he gets starts quickly during a game or during a season, Katie bar the door, look out. But if he starts slowly, he tends not to play well.
Here in Clemson, South Carolina, with Pat Hayden and Pat O'Brien, I'm Brent Musburger. The Tigers, the 3rd-ranked team in the nation, leading Florida State 14-7. And the fans having been notified that Miami has fallen behind by a field goal, starting to pick it up here. They want this Tiger team to go for the championship. The penalty marker comes down on the far side. That was young freshman Eddie McDaniel coming over there to make the stop. I keep waiting to say old freshman. There must be somebody coming back from the military.
Eddie McDaniel, he has really been a surprise here for Clemson. He's one of those great athletes where the coaches told me that, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. We don't do much coach with him. We line him up and let him play.
3 downs and out, and a timeout is going to be called by Clemson. They want to stop that clock at 1:10. They want to take a crack at perhaps setting up a field goal opportunity.
Potentially a block.
And, well, we've got a break. Let's take a look at these two fine universities.
Why do you feel it is so important for students to take so many liberal arts studies instead of just starting with their major?
Well, I think it gives them a wider perspective of the world in which they live. I think many of us would be too narrow if we specialized only in what we consider to be our major.
Who really needs a college education?
In an ever-changing world, I think it's important that many people who are qualified go to college. It's good for society and it's good for them.
A century ago, the vision of one man created what is today Clemson University. By willing his lands and estate for what he saw as a high seminary of learning, Thomas Green Clemson established the school's greatest tradition, that of vision, the ability to envision the future and prepare for it. Clemson University, facing its second century of education, research, and service to South Carolina and the nation, celebrating 100 years of tradition with vision.
We're back. Florida State punting. Corlew standing on his own 12-yard line. Wolford, a superb punt return. Ready to see if he can give field position. And the Tigers show that 10-man front. Clemson with 1 timeout with which to work. And now the official signals that the clock should be started here. 1:10, and it will be on the snap. Corlew gets it off. Here is Wolford. He'll let it roll, takes a Florida State bounce, and it's back at the 32. Well, at the conclusion of today's game, we'll select a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game from both teams. Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school. Rodney Williams has 59 seconds to try and get the Tigers into field goal position if he can.
And they really need to get 39 or 40 yards to get Gardocki in position to kick a field goal. His longest of the year is 46.
Cooper, and Jennings are out there, wide receivers, and Williams throws on the run, working the sideline, and Jennings, did he get out of bounds over there? That was Tracy Sanders.
That's been a great
holding on.
And Brett, that's been a great matchup. Tracy Sanders and Keith Jennings have been going after one another all night, blocking and with receptions.
Penn State with a win, so Penn State and West Virginia are on a collision course in the East, aren't they? Come from behind victory as Boston College had tied it up. Williams again rolling, incomplete. Sanders reading it all the way that time.
But if Sanders is that tight on him again, they can go for the fake and try to go up top like they did earlier.
Well, here comes Davis, an earlier hero in this game when he heaved the touchdown pass to Cooper. He checks in, number 7, and he'll come to the left side. He will be the slot man. Cooper set outside of him. Jennings working the near side on the 3rd down. Williams close to the 1st down. It will depend on the spot.
I don't think they made it.
And the clock continues to run inside of 30 seconds.
They're not even going to measure.
Danny quickly bringing Rodney Williams over here to the sideline as the clock continues to run down. Not close enough for a measurement, so they didn't stop the clock. Ford not wanting the big error made at this moment, content to take a 7-point lead on into the locker room. So we've come to the end of the first half with Clemson leading Florida State 14-7. We had two big passing plays. Clemson scoring first, then Florida State came back to tie it. And a beautiful 99-yard drive. It was set up on 3rd down from the 1 when Williams hit this critical pass to Allen. Then 99 yards later, the senior quarterback from Columbia, South Carolina, took it into the end zone. And after the extra point, the Tigers took a 7-point lead on the Seminoles. We'll be back after this message and a word from your local station.
Sometimes you gotta tune it. Emerson's got it right. Fine-tune it, fine-tune your life. Nobody's gotta tell you. Emerson does it right. Fine-tune it, fine-tune it, fine-tune your life.
Fine-tune your life with Emerson.
McDonald Pass, Montana. Frigid cold, brutal winds. We asked these ranchers to try Alka-Seltzer Plus for their next cold.
Head gets all stuffed up and my nose runs and it really drags me down. Alka-Seltzer Plus works fast. That's the best part of it.
It helps get rid of the congestion and the runny nose.
Alka-Seltzer Plus helps relieve the pain of having a cold.
Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. Fast, effective relief for tough winter colds.
By golly, it does work.
Daddy, I want my teddy bear.
I want my Serta.
Get comfortable. Get a Serta Perfect Sleeper. It'll spoil you for sleeping any other way.
I want my Serta.
This is CBS. Dave Lennox. Since 1895, new ideas in heating and cooling. Get up to a $300 rebate or 12-month 0% financing on selected high-efficiency Lennox products. Call your independent Lennox dealer.
If saving energy and money is important to you, Cole Spartan Insulating Company is thanking people have for over 40 years.
Our business is comfort and lower utility bills for you.
For quality products, call my friend Tom at TSC.
Attaboy, Dave.
This is a can of Enterprise Severe Weather Paint from Lowe's. It just tested better than 5 leading brands and has a 15-year durability rating. If you paint your house with this paint in 1988, you won't have to paint it again until the year 2003. Think about it. Enterprise Severe Weather Paint from Lowe's. The last paint you'll need in this century.
Have you ever heard this before?
Looking for the deal of the century? Just $99 a month buys you all the car you'll ever want.
Wait a minute. See this little bitty print right here? I always wondered what that said. Well, at George Coleman Ford and Travelers Rest, you'll see nothing but big print and one sincere promise that we really care about our customers. We give you a fair, honest value, and we're straightforward in the way we treat you. Now, see this big print right here? George Coleman Ford and Travelers Rest. We're bending over backwards for your business.
The Judge, weekdays at 4.
The Prudential College Football Report is sponsored by The Prudential. Your Prudential representative goes above and beyond to meet your needs in insurance and other financial services. The Prudential, your rock in financial services.
Back here in New York with the coach at halftime, and Clemson leading Florida State 14-7. Era, what were your thoughts in the first half?
Well, Danny Ford's team used textbook football. I mean, basic. He was trained by Bear Bryant, of course. But when it came to the first touchdown, he borrowed from Bobby Bowden's finesse offense, double option pass. So it was an interesting first score for him, but it's just as close as we expected.
Right out of the Bowden playbook.
That's right.
Okay, let's check the top 10. Number 1, Miami has moved in front of Michigan in the first quarter. Steve Walsh to Cleveland Gary, 49-yard touchdown pass there for the Hurricanes. Oklahoma over Arizona. That's at halftime. Barry Switzer going for his 150th win today. Your thoughts on this game, Coach?
Well, that surprises me. When I looked at the statistics, I didn't think that Arizona could give this Oklahoma team much of a game, but they have, both statistically, and they're hanging in there in the score. Surprise. Jamel Holloway has a 5-yard touchdown run for the Sooners. Next week, Oklahoma, by the way, will be at USC. 5th-ranked Trojans idle today. Notre Dame over Michigan State. Irish are now 2-0 on the season. Mark Green, 125 yards rushing. Magic in attendance, but no magic on the field for the Spartans. That Irish defense looked good today, Aaron. Well, 2 weeks in a row now. Mike Stonebreaker right here will pick off a McAllister pass and go 39 yards. This is the same guy that made 19 tackles last week against Michigan. Here he is scoring a touchdown. And in addition to that, the Irish blocked a punt that led to another score, so the defense is back. Last week you said this defense was improved going into the season. They're showing it. They're more than that. They're going to be contenders in this season for the national championship because they have an outstanding defense. And Reggie Ho added 2 field goals for Notre Dame in that victory. And LSU wins for the first time ever at Tennessee. They had not won in 10 previous trips there. You know, they have one of the most underrated players in the country, I believe, Tommy Hodson. He threw for 3 scores today. Completed his first 12 passes of the game, and LSU wins it 34-9. We'll be hearing from Tommy Hodson here at halftime. Now, some of the ranked teams in action tonight. Number 2, UCLA against Long Beach State. Kansas will be at Auburn, and Georgia at Mississippi State. 12th ranked West Virginia had a scare early, trailing 14-0 against the Terrapins. Then they just really poured it on. What about this Mountaineer team? Well, this is the first time that they've been tested, and they really rose to the occasion, scoring 55 points, and they're definitely a team to be contended with during the rest of the year, although they still have next week Pitt, for example, Penn State, and they have some other tough ball games yet. So the run back there, one of the scores, the 55-point total, the most points allowed by a Terrapin team since 1971. South Carolina, talk about a big play today. Todd Ellis, 96-yard touchdown pass to Robert Brooks. You know, the Gamecocks open up the year now 3-0. They've conquered North Carolina, Western Carolina, and now East Carolina with the shutout today. Back-to-back shutouts for that team. Penn State over Boston College. We showed you the game-winning field goal there in the closing minute. It was set up by this block punt. Eddie Johnson on the block there. And again, Ray Tarasi with a 38-yard field goal with 55 seconds left, won it for the Nittany Lions. The 10 millionth fan ever to attend a game at Beaver Stadium, looking on in an exciting contest today. Army playing at Washington. That game has just started. And Colorado and Iowa. The Buffaloes have just moved in front. Chuck Hartlead fumbled. Eric Hanna kicked a 28-yard field goal. And Colorado leads the Hawkeyes playing in Iowa. Still ahead, more gridiron results as the Prudential College Football Report continues here on CBS with scores from around the country.
If you can dream it, you can do it. Today, the Prudential can show you a new world of financial opportunities. Look to the Rock. For mutual funds, stocks and bonds. Feel its strength in CDs, insurance and mortgages. With the right choices, the right guidance, the sky's the limit. The Prudential. Your rock in financial services.
We go above and beyond just like you, above and beyond what we have to do.
I'm a Prudential representative, and I help people review their life insurance needs because I know how much the right life insurance means to me and my family.
You take pride in your life, so do we. Going above and beyond is our policy. The Rock, the Prudential, above and beyond.
Jim Nance and Arrow Parsegan on the College Football Report. Opening day for the Ivy League schools. Defending Ivy champion Harvard going against Columbia. And yes, the losing streak continues for the Lions. It is now 42 and counting. When's it going to end, Coach?
Oh, you got to feel sorry for those guys. But you got to remember, they had a 6-0 freshman team last year. Somewhere along the line, they're going to win a ball game. Not next week, I don't think. I thought they might beat Lafayette, but Lafayette's beaten up on Holy Cross. So it may have to wait another game or two.
At some point this season, huh?
Right.
All right. Yale and Brown played to a 24-all tie, a series that began in 1880. This just in, Vanderbilt beat Rutgers. Rutgers, of course, sprung the surprise last week on Michigan State. A 59-yard field goal on the final play was no good by the Scarlet Knights, and Vanderbilt wins on the road for the first time as Watson Brown head coach at Vanderbilt. Temple and Navy, talk about low scoring. This has just started the fourth quarter. Temple leading it over the Navy there, 12-0, and Bill Cosby's looking on with great interest here, Coach.
The naval commandant made a deal with Bill Cosby. It doesn't look real good now. He said that if the Navy won, Bill would wear a jersey on his show for the whole show. But if Temple won the ball game, they would make Bill Cosby a chief petty officer. Shoot, that merits admiral status. I mean, Bill, let me be your negotiator.
It sounds like the Cos can't lose in that deal. Elsewhere, Indiana State and Florida, the Gators are playing a 1AA opponent for the second time in 3 games. They've kicked an early field goal. That game just started. Georgia Tech and Virginia had a big game, a wild game, and Virginia's Mark Inderlead, a 35-yard field goal with 14 seconds left. Coach Bobby Ross at Georgia Tech is now 0-10 versus major college schools in his 2 years at Georgia Tech. Kentucky and Indiana. A tragic story yesterday. The Kentucky team bus was hit by a passenger car. 2 people were killed. No Wildcat players were injured. But today, it's Indiana leading this game, the first home sellout for the Hoosiers since 1969. You know, this is an Indiana team last year, Eric. They got within 1 game of the Rose Bowl. What about Bill Mallory's bunch this year?
Well, they're a great football team. Bill Mallory is an outstanding coach. After all, he was Parsegian trained. But the point I'm going to make, this Indiana team a year ago beat both Ohio State and Michigan, and they're going to be contenders again this year. It's a sleeper team in the Big Ten. Purdue, it's beef day at Ross-Ade Stadium, and more important, Fred Akers going for his 100th win. Looks like he might get it against Ohio. Utah and Illinois have just started their game. High-powered Houston, look at this, 24-0 over Missouri. 3 touchdown passes there for the Houston quarterbacks. They alternate quarterbacks. Baylor shut out Iowa State on the road. UTEP has scored 3 consecutive touchdowns now to move in front of BYU. Cougars had led 17-3 early in this contest, but now back come the Miners and Bob Stoll's bunch, a hungry bunch once again. This is John Harvey. He had 5 touchdowns last week, era against Weber State. He scores there, and now UTEP's in front playing in Provo. Northwestern and Air Force, and Air Force leading in the 3rd quarter. Wyoming, here's a team that doesn't get a lot of credit, but the Cowboys have won 11 straight regular season games. They're going to make it 12 today against Louisiana Tech. On the coast, Stanford over San Diego State in the 1st quarter. And in baseball, the Yankees now fall 5.5 back of the Red Sox in the American League East. The game was all tied, 1-all. Bottom of the 8th, Charles Hudson gave up the home run into the screen over the Green Monster. Dwight Evans, and Boston adds another run. And that score, 3-1, Boston over the Yankees. And again, the lead is 5.5 in the American League East for the Red Sox. When we come back, we'll talk with Tommy Hansen of the victorious LSU Tigers. You're watching the Prudential College Football Report on CBS, where the scores continue from around the country.
For a century, the Prudential has been helping American families make their dreams come true. With rock-solid protection and guidance toward a brighter financial future. Today, we can help make another great American dream come true. Finding a place to call home. The Prudential Real Estate Affiliates, one of the companies of the Prudential.
Soar beyond your expectations. Today, the Prudential can show you a new world of financial opportunities. Look to the Rock for stocks and bonds, mutual funds. Feel its strength in CDs, insurance, and mortgages. With the right choices, the right guidance, you can move mountains. The Prudential, your rock in financial services.
As we mentioned earlier, one of the more impressive team performances today, LSU winning for the first time ever at Tennessee, 34-9. And the Tigers quarterback Tommy Hansen with one of the best individual performances today. 3 touchdown passes for that outstanding quarterback, Tommy Hansen, who now joins us. Tommy, congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, you guys start off the season with just an incredible schedule. You've already knocked off Texas A&M, now Tennessee. It just continues with Ohio State and Auburn. Florida coming up. How do you guys handle this?
It's going to get tougher every week. I think the old cliche, just take them one at a time, and that's what we're planning on doing this year. And we keep improving as a football team. I think we'll be okay.
Tom Araparsigian here. Mike Archer, your coach, coached at Miami, and they've done quite well. I trust he brought in that passing game, and I just wondered how difficult it was for you to learn and execute.
Well, it took me a couple of years to learn it. I redshirted my first year, and was really just thrown out and into the starting job my second year, and really learned it out on the field. And once you get it down, though, it's really not that complicated.
Tommy, you mentioned you redshirted 1 year. You're a junior in your 4th year. There have been some reports that you may go pro after your junior season, a la Bernie Kosar. Well, what do you stand right now? Where do you stand on that?
Well, I have quite a few hours to graduate, and really not thinking about it right now. Like you said, we have a tough schedule and a lot of good teams to play, and really just concentrating on the season.
A lot of talk about Troy Aikman and Bobby Humphrey maybe being the top Heisman candidates. What about Tommy Hudson's chances?
Well, I tell you, it's really been a relief. Once the season started, the Heisman hype has kind of died down, and we're really just worrying about playing right now. And I don't know about the Heisman, and hopefully I can just play well for the rest of the year, and we can win a lot of ball games.
Tommy, thank you for joining us, and congratulations once again.
Thank you.
That was our talk with Tommy Hodson, the brilliant quarterback just moments ago. A couple of score updates. Mario Hampton, a 9-yard touchdown run for Arizona. They move within 4 of the Sooners. Washington's put a touchdown on the board against Army. And Iowa's just entered the 4th quarter. A touchdown pass by Chuck Hartlieb to Tom Ward, covering 19 yards. Hawkeyes now in front. Coming up next, the second half. Florida State trailing Clemson 14-7. We'll send you back to Brent and Pat in a moment. I'm Jim Nance along with Araparsigian in New York. Thanks for watching the Prudential College Football Report.
Football Report has been sponsored by the Prudential. Your Prudential representative goes above and beyond to meet your needs in insurance and other financial services. The Prudential, your rock in financial services.
The Atlantic Coast Conference. 8 institutions, proud of their academic and athletic excellence. A conference comprised of 6 state-supported public institutions and 2 private institutions. Member schools of the ACC have won 5 of the last 9 College Football Association Academic Achievement Awards. ACC teams have appeared in 8 major bowl games over the last 3 years, compiling an impressive 5-3 record. Committed to excellence in academics and athletics, the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Jim Brown of Notre Dame. For everyone, there is a beginning. For Heisman Trophy winners Davy O'Brien and Tim Brown, it all started here. Woodrow Wilson High School in Dallas, a birthplace for dreams, a foundation for learning. Support high school football and discover a Heisman hero of your own. This message is brought to you by the National Federation of State High School Associations.
Here in South Carolina, Clemson leading Florida State 14-7, the result of a beautiful 99-yard drive led by quarterback Rodney Williams. And Pat Hayden, I think you can identify with the pressures that go on when you're a quarterback, the criticism you receive. What's happening in college football with quarterbacks today?
Well, I think one of the disappointing things is college quarterbacks are getting more and more public criticism. A few years ago, that didn't happen. It's getting like the pro scene now. Now, Rodney Williams has received a lot of criticism in his career, but I really admire the guy for having the mental toughness to stick in there. He's not going to throw 5 touchdowns a game, but he knows how to get his team into the end zone.
Yeah, you mentioned mental toughness, Pat, and in talking to Rodney, he admitted that he wasn't always the best quarterback, but he hung in despite the criticism.
In the game, I let get a little carried away, whether it was getting too fired up in certain situations or letting the crowd get to me, where now I try to stay on the even keel, and I think I do a good job of that, and I think I keep the offense at an even keel, and that, that's my job, and I try to go out and do it every week.
He sure did keep him on an even keel on this drive. He faced 3 third downs, 1 4th down, and he capped it off with that 7-yard touchdown run. 14-7 Clemson will continue live right after this message and a word from your local station.
overnight letters for just $8.75. Watch the birdie. Express Mail overnight service from your post office. Who drops by to pick up your overnight packages every day? You know us well. Express Mail overnight service. When we say overnight, we mean overnight.
Do you know what it's like to walk out onto the fresh-cut grass at Yankee Stadium the morning before the game? Now you do. Adidas aftershave and cologne. The essence of sports.
Check-out time, Garfield.
Check out.
Embassy Suites Hotel was a great idea, huh? We got a 2-room suite with a wet bar and a refrigerator.
So what's the big rush?
And all for about the same price as a room at most Marriotts or Hyatts. There's even a free cook-to-order breakfast every morning.
Delicious.
What a great place to do business.
That settles it. We're staying.
At Embassy Suites Hotels, you don't have to be a fat cat to enjoy the sweet life.
No, but it doesn't hurt.
This is CBS.
It's clearance time at your Chrysler Plymouth dealers, and they're pricing their stock so everything goes. Chrysler New Yorker Landau with factory-to-dealer discounts that could mean further discounts of up to $1,600 goes. Yes, New Yorker Landau, clearance priced and backed with Crystal Key Owner Care, goes. Yep, everything goes. Now at your Chrysler Plymouth dealers. Get there.
The Carolina combination that's above the rest is your Carolina Chrysler Plymouth dealers.
Parts Plus, the automotive supply store with everything plus. Ignition coils, choke valves,
push rods, gas caps, oil tire repair kits, valve lifters, brake shoes, brake drums, air filters, oil filters, PVC valves, fuel filters, fan belts, air conditioning.
There are a lot of parts at Parts Plus, but the difference is in the people. People who know parts and how to special order those hard-to-get parts overnight. Today, Parts Plus wants you to know that car engines are running hotter, putting more wear on your belts. If your car is 4 years old, replace your belts with Gates belts. For everything under the hood and more, shop the store with the Plus. Parts Plus.
Drum up a deal. It's closeout time in Carolina on Oldsmobile. There's nothing finer. Drum up a deal on Color Supreme. $1,000 cash back on the car of your dreams.
$1,000 cash back.
Use your cash back as you please for your down payment. Now it's freeze.
That's $1,000 for your down payment.
With Color Supreme, we're right on track. Closeout priced, $1,000 cash back.
Drum up a deal on Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme.
Carolina savings like never before from the people who give you a whole lot more.
Your Carolina Olds dealers, drum up a deal.
We're back. Coach Danny Ford stopped to chat with Pat O'Brien. He's ahead, but he's not overly happy. Going your way, are they?
I think we gave up a big play defensively on the long pass, and that was my fault. We put them in a defense we shouldn't have been in. We're playing pretty well. The last drive was a big plus for us, and I think the first 5 minutes coming back in the third quarter is going to be very important. They got the football. Our coverage has got to improve, and then we got to make something happen early because they up against the wall and they're going to come out wide open.
Weren't you just a little nervous throwing the ball from inside the one on a rainy day?
I don't believe they're telling me what they're doing today, so that's better off.
Thank you, Coach. Back to you, Brent.
A man who trusts his assistant coaches. So Sile with the ball. He'll put it down on the tee. You can see his toe tied up there. Kickoff fashion. Ross and Carter set to return for the Seminoles. 14-7. Tigers all orange. Their lucky orange pants. Seminoles wearing the white pants for the first time since '58, courtesy of actor Burt Reynolds. This is Ross. Out to the 25 and down. One statistic leaps off the page. The rushing statistic for Florida State in that first half. That's total yards, 232 to 71, and only one rushing yard for Florida State. Had the problem.
This is the third game in a row they have not rushed the ball, and it's the interior of the line. The center and the two guards are getting no push against this Clemson defense. I think it's tough to be a finesse passing team and a physical running team.
They bring Butts in as an added blocker. They've moved him back from the linebacking spot. He'll try to lead Sammy Smith, who cuts away from the block and comes out to the 31-yard line on first down. So they start Butts and Smith, and they'll see if they can generate something in the middle of that offensive line now for Coach Bobby Bowden.
Butts and Smith are his power backs, Brent. Both of them about 230, 225. And they really want to come out here early, I think, and try to get something established in that running game because it was just impossible in the first half.
O'Malley brought the play into the sideline. They face a 2nd and 4. Smith cuts off to the right side, pushed out of bounds at the 34-yard line, a little short of a first down.
You really can't blame some of these running backs because there is no hole for any of these guys to run. That's 2 games we have seen Florida State, and there isn't a lot of gaping holes. No one blocked Beasley, number 27 there. There's just nowhere for Sammy Smith to go.
Yeah, frequently we focus on the backs, but it depends upon the offensive line. They never receive enough credit for a winning football team, and sometimes they escape the blame. This is 3rd and 1. Williams in at fullback. O'Malley in motion to lead the fullback straight ahead. The defense was ready for him. Great defensive stand that time. Otis Moore, number 81, got underneath.
That's a big play by the Clemson defense. Your defensive team sets the tone on the first series of the second half. Again, terrific penetration. Dane Williams is a good short yardage runner, but again, just no crease there for Williams to find.
And the Seminoles still considering what to do. They've got Corlew on the far side, and they're going to go to a timeout. So we've got a timeout. It is 4th and short. We'll be right back.
The 1988 Toyota Celica. Its powerful 16-valve, 135-horsepower engine propels you to the limit, while you glory in Celica's sleek, aerodynamic shape. The 1988 Toyota Celica. The power and the glory. Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more?
Have you ever tried a beer and felt like the taste just missed your mouth? Well, taste again. Because times have changed. Here's one big, bold draft that packs a full-till taste you can get your hands around. Extra Gold Draft. It's the biggest taste that's happened to beer since they put it in cans.
Did it seem like your air conditioning bills were going through the roof this summer? Well, the Owens Corning Attic Blanket helps keep the cool air in, which can save you money in the years ahead and leave you sitting pretty. Owens Corning, we put your house in the pink.
After a conference, the coaching staff decided to punt. Tim Corlew standing on his own 20-yard line. 4th and short. Donnell Wolford standing on his 31-yard line. Moving up to about the 32 or 3. Ready to return for the Tigers. Low snap. Fielded. High. Wolford at the 31. Down right there with a penalty marker thrown. 34-yard punt. Penalty flag thrown as Wolford was being hit and down at the 30-yard line. And for the next couple of weeks here on the clip, a very late clip trying to free him. No mistake by the Tigers. Started to say for the next couple of weeks, we're really going to focus here at CBS on the Southeastern Conference race. That features some great teams. Auburn, hoping to win a national championship, will host Tennessee. And then in 2 weeks, we'll send LSU down to Gainesville, where they will play Florida. So check in on the Southeastern Conference the next couple of weeks. Pat, I'm sorry I can't be with you in Auburn. I've got to go to Miami of Ohio to watch them play Cincinnati, but I know you'll be in good hands next Saturday.
I'm looking forward to it. Reggie Slack, the quarterback there at Auburn, is off to a good start.
1st and 10. Williams with the Tigers at the line of scrimmage. After the penalty Luckily, the ball was back on the 15. This is Henderson. He squeezed about 4 yards out.
Clemson really likes to run the ball in between the tackles, and particularly right up the middle of the field. And when you have as good an offensive center in Jeff Back as they do, that's where you're going to feature them. And a fullback like Tracy Johnson, they're going right at the heart of the Florida State defense.
Clemson scored first on a 61-yard pass from a wide receiver to Cooper. Davis threw it. Then 40 yards for Florida State on a pass from Ferguson to Dexter Carter coming out of the backfield. Then it was the 99-yard drive. Here's the late pitch, and this is Henderson. Forced out of bounds at the 30-yard line. First down for the Tigers, a 12-yard run. Just before the half, Clemson marched 99 yards, and Williams scored from 7 yards out.
You know, Brent, I think the difference between these two offensive teams, I think Clemson has an identity. They know they're going to come out here and run the ball at you inside and then run the option. Florida State just doesn't seem to be able to make up their mind whether they're trying to be a throwing team or a passing team.
First and 10 for that Clemson bunch, ranked number 3 by the AP. Has been all season. Hooper in motion. Here's Henderson off that toss, turns it upfield and gets across the 35. Second and short.
Second and short, just as you said, that is the key. Clemson is averaging over 7 yards on first down. Again, that's the perfect kind of game Clemson wants to play. Keep the defense on the field, because it takes about twice as much energy to play defense as it does offense.
Play is brought in by a wide receiver, Hooper and Jennings. Jennings slotted to the right side. Now comes in motion behind Williams. Keeps it, pitches to Henderson. There's an alley open, and he's forced out by Leroy Butler, and a penalty marker is down. That was a 22-yard burst by Henderson, and great ball handling by Rodney Williams.
And I think they called the clip on number 87, Keith Jennings, the wide receiver who has blocked so well tonight. He blocked well there, but he got a little bit low, and on the backside of the defensive back, the official was there to make the clip call.
Clip it! Offensive team!
That's 6 total penalties for 65 yards by Clemson so far in this game. They've hurt themselves with penalties.
You see Jennings, number 87, actually pushed the man. It wasn't much of a call. It was kind of a ticky-tack call, but he did push him. The official was there for the penalty.
See, Jennings will tell him during the film session, I told you, Coach, us wide receivers shouldn't be blocking that much.
Throw us the ball a little bit more. I'm wide open.
If you have not seen them, the wide receivers on this Clemson team really block downfield. They go after the corners and the safety. Williams to throw it. Allen throws a good block down the middle, and it's incomplete. And the receiver looking for interference. Jennings thought that Tracy Sanders interfered with him, but he did not.
Sanders and Jennings have had a battle all afternoon. It's a classic one. And I think Sanders has done a pretty nice job of both shedding Jennings and trying to tackle the ball and defending him. 5-man defensive line for Florida State here. They should get more pressure on the quarterback because they're one-on-one outside. And Tracy Sanders does a nice job on Jennings.
Vocally disagreeing was Coach Ford. He thought it was interference all the way. Now, 3rd and 9. Williams back, incomplete. The ball was deflected. Allen coming underneath, and the crowd continues to boo the absence of an interference call. But Bobby Bowden and the Seminoles will take it. Deion Sanders will go back and set to return this punt. And again, Clemson must be mindful of an opportunity here to block a punt. However, it's a one-step punter, and Chris Gardocki has gotten it off. The young man from Stone Mountain, Georgia. You're going to hear a lot from him. He'll be a field goal kicker as well as a punter here. He whacks it, and now it'll be Deion Sanders from the 24. In the middle, twists his way, finds an alley. Now it's just the punter. He'll outrun it. It's going to be a touchdown, Florida State. Deion Sanders. There are no penalty markers down. An electrifying 76-yard run. see that speed as the extra point is beautiful. I want you to watch this at normal speed. He comes into the middle. Just a little bit of a crack, a seam he kind of slides through, and then he explodes. We're talking about 4.21 world-class speed. That was the timing by the pro scouts last spring. What a run by Sanders. We'll be right back.
We're not a company.
But we'll give you a chance to work where there's always a challenge.
We'll give you opportunities to learn, to develop.
To perfect skills that you thought were beyond your reach.
We'll help you build a career that can reward you for the rest of your life.
We're not a company.
We're your country.
We're the Army.
The Navy.
The Air Force.
The Marines.
We're the Armed Forces.
It's a great place to start.
On their vacation, they had everything planned. Everything except this. So don't carry cash. Carry American Express traveler's checks. Don't leave home without them.
I'd rather switch than itch. So I switched to Tegrin.
Tegrin medicated shampoo controls all the major causes of itching and flaking. So Tegrin is more than strong enough for everyday dandruff like yours.
Wouldn't you rather switch than itch?
How hot can it get inside your car's engine? This hot. 570 degrees under extreme conditions. Take a leading motor oil. Take Mobil 1 and watch. Of course, Mobil 1 costs more. But under extreme conditions, when you see what can happen to conventional motor oil, it doesn't pay to play with fire. Mobil 1. Isn't your car worth the extra protection?
Hey, kids, what time is it?
It's check-in time for comedy on Newhart. Hi.
8 o'clock, 7 Central Mountain. 8 o'clock, 7 Central Mountain. 8 o'clock, 7 Central Mountain.
Deion Sanders has tied at 76 yards. What set it up, Pat?
The key block right here by number 15, Bill Raggins. But good punt returners just need one or two blocks, and they've got great vision. Watch Raggins there, just gets in the way. They're not a fierce block, but just gets in the defender's way enough. And the great eyes of Deion Sanders, and then it's the speed. I'd like to be a kicker back there trying to tackle him.
I would like to be a catcher trying to throw him out stealing second base. You know, he rose to AAA with the New York Yankees. Down to Pat O'Brien.
All right, Brent, one of the happiest men in the South right here, Deion Sanders, getting congratulations of his teammates. I said, you know, what was it like? He said, Pat, it's prime time and about time. So back to you.
Tell him I like it, because we said it was darkness in Miami for prime time, so he comes out into the sunlight. Nice run, Deion.
Jones, I love you, baby. I love you.
A whole lot of folks down in Tallahassee that love you right now. He has scored consecutive weeks. Last week, he ran back an interception for a touchdown.
I think what differentiates him, Brandon, some guys just want to be one of the best. Deion Sanders wants to be the best defensive back in football.
What was it Muhammad Ali said? It ain't bragging if you can back it up. So now Andrews with the ball on the tee. We've got a new game again with Henderson and McFadden back. Number one, leading by a point. 2 field goals for the Wolverines. Out of bounds and a 5-yard penalty, and they will re-kick it. A reminder tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern time. The NFL Today will start off our coverage. Minnesota, Chicago, the big early game. Philadelphia plays Washington. That'll be a fascinating confrontation. How good Buddy Ryan's team this year. Then late, the doubleheader action on CBS. Giants, Cowboys, Rams, Raiders, Falcons, 49ers. So check the local listings for the game and time in your area. And Bobby Bowden has had 2 big plays in this game. His quarterback Ferguson went to Carter for 40 yards. And now his best athlete, Deion Sanders, explodes 76 yards for a touchdown. Illinois leading Utah and Florida over Indiana State. You know, in 2 weeks, Florida and LSU could well be unbeaten in that confrontation down in Gainesville.
We'll look forward to seeing you there, Brent.
So they'll re-kick it from the 30-yard line. Never done a game down in Gainesville. I'm really looking forward to it. Some of the turf starting to come up now after the hard rain and the play in the first half. From the ground, Henderson Runs it down at the 10. Broke a tackle, and he is down at the 24-yard line where it will be first down. Here's how the scoring has gone so far in this game. Clemson struck first on the big play, 61 yards. Cooper scored it. They passed off the end around. Davis threw it to him. Then it was the big play for the Seminoles as Ferguson hit Carter. That was 40 yards. Then a brilliant 99-yard drive at the end of the second quarter, and it was 14-7 Clemson. Now another big play. That punt return by Sanders, 76 yards, tied at 14. Williams with Johnson behind him. Hooper going in motion. Allen is the tailback, and they pound straight ahead, and that time Odell Higgins was ready along with Sanders, who came up, and Sanders was over on the side, and now he's coming into the game.
Brett, this is a big series for the Clemson offense here. Again, after a big play where your defense forces the team to punt and they return it back, it's up to Rodney Williams to find a way to get a couple of first downs to keep the chains moving.
Williams keeps it. Here's the pitch now to Allen. Tripped up. Got across the 30-yard line to the 31. That was Felton Hayes who tripped him up.
I've really been impressed with the way Rodney Williams has pitched the ball today, Brent. You know, it looks like an easy little toss, but it's just as delicate and I think as difficult as throwing the ball downfield with a pass. Just about every pitch has been right out in front of the running back, has allowed him to catch it on the run and pick up some yardage.
Third and short. Call by Williams. He did not like the defensive front. Saw something which bothered him because of the play call, so he'll come over to Coach Ford's sideline. He'll put on the headset and check with the assistant coaches upstairs, and we'll be right back.
You know, there are a lot of places where you can look for an auto part, but here's where you'll find it. Napa has parts for imports and other hard-to-find parts. So come to Napa first. We've got your part.
Americans buy lots of imported cars. Isn't it nice to know that Napa has the parts right here when you need them? Don't miss the boat on parts for imports. Come to Napa.
Going, gone. Beer drinkers are knocking the doors down for the full tilt taste of Extra Gold Draft. They're treating every can, every bottle, every 12-pack or case they can get their hands on like pure gold. Extra Gold. When a beer that packs this big a taste comes along, you gotta go for it.
Hold on. So, did you check out any other 4x4s before getting another one of these?
Sure. There were some a little cheaper.
So how come you stuck with Toyota?
Well, my old one never let me down. How many things can you say that about?
Yeah, but if you could have saved a few bucks.
Why take chances?
What chances?
You got any idea how far it is back to town?
Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more?
They are the defending SEC champions and ranked 6th in the nation. The Tigers of Auburn battle conference rival Tennessee next Saturday on CBS Sports.
Jim Nance from New York. No great surprise here considering the opponent, but Florida is running up the score here in the first half on Indiana State. Wayne Williams scores there, 24-0. Gators driving again. And in case you're wondering, Emmitt Smith, 7 carries for 37 yards. Make it 27-0. A field goal just tacked on right now by the Gators. Second quarter. Back to Brent and Pat.
All right, Jim Nance put his finger on it. The Gators have not played tough schedule, but in 2 weeks, we'll see them against LSU. We focus on the Southeastern Conference the next 2 weeks. Here it is, Clemson and Florida State tied at 14. Williams kept it, didn't fool Phil Carollo. Number 81 has made a couple of big plays here this afternoon for Florida State. So the timeout was wasted. And now it will be the punter. Clemson Chris Gardocki on the field. A freshman who has been their field goal specialist, has handled the punting all the way, and Florida State cannot get to the one-step punter, at least so far. They are the best school in the country at blocking punts. Gardocki gets this one off in the teeth of a rush. And here's Sanders. Made the catch at the 23-yard line. Went for the fair catch that time.
The crowd is claiming Gardocki was roughed, and he thought he was as well. No, he gave it a little Laurence Olivier. Wow, that may get him an Oscar.
Well, he's a freshman, and by the time he's a junior, he'll learn that you got to fall immediately. You can't have that delayed.
Boy, that was bad,
reaction. Temple leading Navy. Florida State comes to work with a score tie. Floyd is in front of Sammy Smith. Lewis goes in motion for the Seminoles. Ferguson off the fake, rolling to the right, throws deep for Floyd. He's got it. Into Clemson territory to the 42-yard line, a 34-yard gain, a first down pass. Beasley caught him.
When you give Chip Ferguson protection, he is a very accurate quarterback. Again, the play-action fake. Victor Floyd lined up at fullback and got lost in the shuffle with the play-action fake. And then right down the sideline over the strong safety Beasley, beautifully thrown by Ferguson. The momentum has really switched to Florida State.
Sanders did it with that punt return, tying the score. Now Williams and Smith split backs behind Ferguson. Ferguson going to throw again on first down. Has time. He hits Anthony in the middle. Fumble. Clemson ball. Raymond Chaffetz recovers for the Tigers. The first turnover, and it's a costly one.
But it's the 12th of the year, and this is what has plagued. Oh, the official has given it to.
He's changed his mind. Wait a minute. They have changed their mind. It has gone back.
I thought Chavis had recovered it as well.
He had recovered it, and they took it away from him underneath.
Good protection again for Ferguson, who's very confident right now. Terry Anthony turns it upfield. The ball pops loose clearly there. You can't really tell.
So a first down and a big break for the Seminoles. Smith comes right back. Battles inside the 30-yard line on first down. Wolford making the stop.
Chip Ferguson is a very confident quarterback right now, and you have to be careful of a confident quarterback who is hot.
Good first-yard gain. Ford still upset. Williams the fullback. O'Malley the tight end. Smith the tailback. Anthony is out of the game right now. Here is Smith. Penalty marker is down. Smith was short of the first down.
Here's another look at that fumble where they sort this thing out. Again, Anthony goes down, the ball is stripped. That's good defense. They were trying to strip that ball. Number 79 on red. Looks like he's going to recover it right there. He's on top of it. It must have been just been taken away by the offensive player from Florida State. But Chavis was definitely the first one there.
Being marked against the Seminoles.
Repeat second down.
A costly holding penalty against them. It'll bring that ball back to the Clemson 38-yard line. The Yankees could have used Deion Sanders this afternoon.
Yeah, he had a good summer for him.
Goes all the way to AAA. Now on 2nd and 13. Back, throwing deep, and a beautiful catch at the 1-yard line. A brilliant catch. Bruce Lazane makes the grab, a 36-yard pass play.
And he made this throw and it was well covered by Dano Wolford. But you know what I like? Receiver Lassane is 6'4". Ferguson knows that. He throws it high, lets him go up. For a moment, I thought Wolford was going to intercept it. But then Lassane just pulled it right away from him. But anytime you have a tall receiver, get it up there and give him a chance to go up and get it.
First and goal for the Seminoles. Williams and Smith in the backfield. Three tight ends, power eye. Williams, touchdown, Seminoles lead. With 8 minutes and 27 seconds to go in the third period, Florida State takes its first lead of the afternoon. Deion Sanders returns a punt for a touchdown. Then Florida State, after a punt, moves back down the field for the go-ahead touchdown. Now it'll be up to Andrews. He adds the extra point.
Sensational catch by Lassane really set up the touchdown. He's playing against an All-American in Donald Wolford, and Wolford covers him extremely well. I think the underthrown deep ball right there is one of the great throws in football. Lassane uses all of his height to go up and get it. And then they give it to the big fullback, Dane Williams. He scored 15 of these short yardage touchdowns a year ago. He's got a nose for the end zone. Just bowls his way over the left guard of Tony Yeomans. Now blocked by the tight end, lined up in the backfield, cleared the way for Dane Williams.
So Bruce Lassane from Wildwood, Florida, sets it up with a spectacular catch. He's 6'4", 210 pounds. He replaced Anthony after Anthony fumbled the ball away. The ability of the Seminoles to go back inside that pile and grab that loose ball is what saved this touchdown. They didn't quit going after the fumble.
Brent, I think Bobby Bowden is finding something out about this Florida State team, as they are going to be a passing team, not a running team this year.
Down to Pat O'Brien.
And the key man in that series is right here, Terry Anthony. He's the man who had the ball inside, fumbled it, and got his own fumble back. So he's the man smiling right now. Let's go back to Brent. He's saying hi to Mom, too, by the way.
I'll say he's a happy man right now. He'd have been under fire if that ball would have been lost. Instead, he went back and he took it away from Chaffetz down underneath. Ferguson now 9 of 12 for 150 yards and 1 touchdown. 21-14, Florida State leading at Clemson. Another touchdown for #1 ranked Miami. They lead Michigan 14-6. That's 2 field goals for the Wolverines in that game. And here, #3 Clemson has fallen behind by 7 points. #2 UCLA plays Long Beach State later tonight. Andrews pulls it deep, and Henderson fields it inside the 5, and he'll come out. Hammered at the 21-yard line. For an update, let's find out about that Miami game. And here's Jim Nantz in New York.
Well, Brent, that was Cleveland Gary scoring his second touchdown of the game. 3:30 left before halftime. It's 14-6, Miami over Michigan. Looks like Colorado's going to win at Iowa. Iowa turned it over on the 15-yard line of the Buffaloes. Looked like they were going to put the game away. Back marching 85-yard come the Buffaloes. Quarterback Savanesi from a yard out for the touchdown to go ahead. They have just intercepted Chuck Hartlieb. 1 minute to go. Buffaloes have the ball and the lead. Back to Brent and Pat.
All right, Jim, thank you. Here it's 21-14. Florida State with its first lead, scoring moments ago. This is Johnson, the fullback, and he powers his way out to the 25 for Clemson on first down.
You're going to see a very patient Clemson offense again here, trying to get themselves down in that 3rd and 2 situation. And that's where they've broken most of their big plays offensively. They get in 3rd and 2, run the option, get to the corner, and pick up 10, 12 yards.
Well, it's 5 o'clock Eastern time, and we welcome you to Clemson, South Carolina. 7:55 to go in the 3rd. With Pat Hayden and Pat O'Brien, I'm Brent Musburger. The Tigers of Clemson with the ball. 2nd down and long. They trail the Seminoles 21-14. There is the late pitch to the tailback. It's forced out of bounds here on the near side. Allen was the ball carrier. Derek Dodge got it. In case you are wondering about the weather conditions and the somewhat slippery surface, a little torn up. It rained hard in this area all morning long. Over a ½ inch fell in this area. half, it has not rained, but the field is torn up a little bit. But if you watch Deion Sanders return that punt, you would think it's a perfect field this afternoon. It was an electrifying punt return, and it turned this game completely around. Now on 3rd and 2 for Clemson. Williams to throw, incomplete, and where's the penalty? There it is. Sanders was holding Hooper that time. It's Tracy Sanders, not Deion.
And although there was clearly interference there, Tracy Sanders has played well all afternoon. This time he gets a little bit too aggressive. I think he's expecting the ball to get there a little bit quicker than it does, and that's why he puts the early move and almost tackles the receiver. That's a good receiver. He's calling for the flag before he even goes down. He must practice that one. He's got 11 tackles on the day.
Ball on the Clemson 37-yard line. 1st and 10 Tigers. Seminoles with a 4-man defensive front. Williams slips, gets back up, down the middle, incomplete, and that was Butler defending it for Florida State.
Strong defensive effort here in the second half. I think they really were ignited by Sanders' punt return, and it's a much different attitude I think I'm seeing by the Florida State defense here in the second half.
Purdue leading Ohio, Pennsylvania over Dartmouth, and UTEP beating BYU by 10 points in the 4th. BYU coming off that impressive showing against Texas. 2nd and 10 for Clemson. Jennings is set to the near side wide. And they run Allen. It'll be 3rd and almost 7 for a first down. The man who fired up this defense, Deion Sanders.
Absolutely. Punt return did it, and he's played pretty well defensively as well. They just don't throw many balls to him. When you play on the opposite side like Tracy Sanders does, he's going to see most of the action. Brett, this is a draw down for Clemson on 3rd and 6 and 7 when they're playing close to the best. They like to run the draw.
Allen is the tailback. This time they'll throw off it. Incomplete. Clemson must punt. And the game has turned completely around.
And I think college football, even more than professional football, is a game of momentum, particularly when you get into a park like you do in college football. And the momentum right now is all on the side of Florida State.
Williams this half is 0 for 4. Docky's average. Sanders lets this one fall short, and it'll roll inside the 20-yard line. Takes a Clemson roll. It'll be downed at the 18-yard line. Well, let's present this week's Toyota Leadership Awards to those players who've been singled out by the coaching and faculty staff for outstanding performance in the area of team contributions, academics, and citizenship. Ty Granger from Clemson, an accounting major from Easley, South Carolina, and Ronald Lewis from Florida State. He's a communications major from Jacksonville, Florida. Toyota donates a check in the amount of $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund. And congratulations to both of those fine young men. 1st and 10 for Florida State. They lead it 21-14. We're in the 3rd quarter. Ferguson throwing on 1st down. That has been the big change. O'Malley, the receiver, and he gets a good gain on 1st down for the Seminoles.
I think Florida State is finding out a lot about themselves. They're not going to be a running team, I don't think, this year, but they can pass block very, very well. They have some big old hosses up front. Good protection there for Ferguson, and this is the kind of a team I think they're going to have to be a finesse and passing football team.
They have featured the pass on 1st down here, primarily in the second half. They show end around. Smith keeps it. And he is belted short at the 1st down. Doug Brewster, number 92 from Athens, Georgia, led the defense that time. Stanford runs it up on San Diego State. And Houston over Missouri. Houston looming as a power in the Southwest Conference. Texas A&M did not play today. That game with Alabama called off because of the weather. Wyoming over Louisiana Tech.
The only problem with being a passing team like Florida State is trying to get third and short yardage like they're faced with right here.
They have not had a first down rushing today. Ferguson's bootleg to throw. First down. Went to his tight end Johnson. 12-yard gain and a well-executed play. Throwing to the tight end off the bootleg. Johnson unhappy because he lost his footing when he got over there to the far side.
Wonderful call because it really gave Florida State two options. I think Ferguson could have run for the first down, but he found his tight end wide open and dumped it to him.
Ball near the Florida State 40-yard line. This is Smith. Big hole in the middle. Well, let's get an Iowa final. Let's check in with Jim Nance. Jim, what happened to the hockey?
That's incredible to me. Two guys from Darien, Connecticut. I thought everybody from Darien were quarterbacks, but these guys actually get their uniforms dirty and they bleed and everything.
Quarterbacks are soccer players.
Really? How do they get a tight end and a center out of Darien?
Well, Jeff telling us yesterday he came down to Coach Ford's camp, and he liked it down here. Two that got away from Joe Paterno. Ferguson on first down, fires complete to Carter. Carter slips free for another first down, and now this Florida State passing attack starting to show its domination. That a 16-yard gain. Earlier, those two hooked up for a long touchdown of 40 yards.
And this is really what we expected from Florida State, really to be able to get the ball downfield. And I think you got to give Bobby Bowden and his staff some credit. They decided, hey, we can't run the football for whatever reason, so we're just going to throw it.
Here comes the old run and shoot.
Fun for the fans.
First down for the Noles. Ball inside the Clemson 30-yard line. Ferguson straight back, fires to Lewis, who cuts inside, down at the 14-yard line. Suddenly, it's a bit of a passing clinic, 15 yards.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Clemson, who plays in the ACC, doesn't see the kind of routes that Florida State throws very much. Combo route, the man in motion, you're going to see here come out here, and Lewis runs the slant pattern. It is read beautifully by Chip Ferguson. Clemson doesn't see these kind of routes much in the ACC. It's a little bit different for them. Well executed.
Clemson unable to exert pressure on the quarterback. That has been a big problem here so far for Clemson. Now they run Smith straight ahead, and he has stood up. Vance Hammond, number 90 from Spartanburg, South Carolina. Now think back to Florida State's first two games, Miami and even Southern Mississippi. They blitzed one time after another defensively. But here so far, Danny Ford's team has been more content to sit back than to send the blitzers after the quarterback.
And I think the reason for that, Brent, is because Florida State is throwing the ball off a three-step drop, and it's tough to get to a quarterback even when you're blitzing and he's only throwing it on a three-step drop.
He brings it up. Second down and 8. They can get a first down inside the 5. They swing it outside to Williams, the fullback. He is down at the 8-yard line. Beasley bringing him down for Coach Ford.
That's pretty good defense because that play was well set up. I thought Dane Williams was going to had a chance to score on that one. The 4 or 5 orange jerseys rallied to the ball.
Floyd and O'Malley check in for the Seminoles. Lewis also in the game for the wide receivers, and Lezane, who made that brilliant catch earlier. Lezane to the short side. Smith and Floyd, the running backs. Ferguson over the middle, almost intercepted. Vince Taylor, the linebacker from Clearwater, Florida, getting back and defending that pass over the middle.
But I think Vince Taylor was actually hiding behind the official, and I don't think Chip Ferguson see him. See the official right there? Taylor gets behind him, and I don't think Ferguson ever sees him. He has to duck, and there is Taylor right there in the way, but the official blocked the view.
This will be a 24-yard field goal attempt by Andrews, looking for his first field goal of the season. partially blocked. Partially blocked, and Andrews now 0 for 3 on the season. A big turnabout in this game.
Both teams now have come up with a great special teams play, and I think it was number 5, James Lott, who actually got his hand on the ball from the corner. Bottom of the screen, I think he comes from number 5. This is all determination. And Lott is there to tips the ball. That's a great play.
Lott in that defensive secondary, a veteran unit. They've been carved up a bit by Ferguson in the second half. But there, Lott came up with a big play. 1st and 10 for Rodney Williams and the Tigers. This is Henderson looking for daylight, and it was not there. The Seminole defense ganged up on him. Felton Hayes, 46, helping to lead the way.
It's incredible, I think, that Florida State defense has played this well in the second half because they have been on the field a long time. They're playing in a very hostile place, and that time they absolutely stuffed Clemson's best play, the sweep.
McFadden is the fullback. Henderson, the tailback. 3 wide receivers. Williams wanted Cooper, and it was dropped over here. Ball was thrown lone. Let's get an update on the Wolverines and the Hurricanes. Here's Jim Nance. Jim.
Well, Brent, a touchdown for the Wolverines. Quarterback Mike Taylor to Jeff Brown, 5-yard touchdown. The 2-point conversion failed. It's 14-12 Hurricanes with a minute to go in the first half. Back to Death Valley.
So number 1 feeling some pressure up in Ann Arbor, a 2-point game. And Clemson being shut down by this Seminole defense. Only 47 total yards for the Tigers in this half. Williams throws to the far side. Cooper going up, can't hold on. It's incomplete. That was Leroy Butler, number 6. He's out of Jacksonville.
And that's a great play because that ball was caught by Cooper. He made a super catch and adjustment on the ball, but Butler waited, and when he caught it, then he just knocked it right out of his hands. He waits, then he knocks it out. That's terrific defense.
21-14, Florida State leading. Clemson being forced to punt again, and the freshman Chris Gardocki standing near his own 5-yard line. Deion Sanders set to return. Sanders driven back inside the 35, lets it bounce dead, and there is a penalty flag. They did rough the freshman punter this time. He got off a 51-yarder, and he drew the roughing penalty.
I think it's number 40, David Bassett. He got blocked into him, but that is still a penalty in college football. When you get blocked into the punter in college football, unlike the pros, that is still a penalty. Did a little better job of acting that time too, Brent.
5-yard penalty declined. We'll have a first down.
Now, the roughing the kicker penalty is declined. Now, let me explain that to you because many of you think that it's an automatic first down. That is not so in college football under that penalty call.
It's a run. There's a difference between running into the kicker and roughing the kicker. Running into the kicker, which they called, is only 5 yards, and roughing the kicker is a first down.
Now, that would not have given Clemson a first down. It was a brilliant 50-yard punt. So they took the punt. Florida State will put it in play. 1st and 10 on their own 29-yard line. That's how that sequence unfolded. So I don't think anybody made a mistake in declining. To give to the tailback. And no daylight that time. Jesse Hatcher, the Bandit linebacker, number 55. He helped lead the defensive charge against Smith. Watch how they swarm to the ball.
And because they substitute so many players on defense, they can do this in the 4th quarter. That's why they think they win a lot of games, because they substitute so much.
One of the things that Florida State has done so far today is to protect the ball. They have not turned it over once. They appeared to, as LSU hands Tennessee its 3rd straight defeat. West Virginia rolls. Penn State dramatic fashion, and a timeout called by Ferguson here.
Wow, that's surprising in a close ball game. I think he was worried about the 25-second clock. He only has one remaining for the fourth quarter.
Generally, coaches tell their quarterbacks to do that in the first half. They don't care, but in the second half, they like to preserve them when you're in a tight game. Down to Pat O'Brien. Pat, what do you got?
Brent, you know, there's more than one way to watch a college football game. Watch it on the field like us or in the stands. Here at Clemson, they have 108 skyboxes, more than any American university. And up there, they have 22 seats in each one, stereo, kitchen service, maid service. I don't think I had that when I was watching the Coyotes play in South Dakota. They're so nice, I go back and watch the NFL today on Sunday. Back to you.
There's the revenue, Pat, from those skyboxes. $1.2 million they take in down here. Auburn, where you'll be next week. Pat, they're second. You know, Coach Ford and Pat Dye have a connection. Coach Ford played at Alabama, and Pat Dye was an assistant coach over there. And Coach Ford and his wife used to be the babysitter for the Dye children. Coach Ford said that's the first time I ever saw silk sheets was over at Coach Dye's house. So here it is with 8 seconds left in the third quarter. After the timeout, Ferguson straight back as time hits Floyd, and it'll be third and maybe 5 yards as we come to the end of an exciting third quarter. Florida State takes charge here in Death Valley, 21-14. And we'll return after this message and a word from your local station.
This is a machine designed to keep you on time. And this is what makes it tick. People. Working together with clock-like precision, each dedicated to keeping you on schedule. Time after time after time. American Airlines, the on-time machine.
We're not a company.
But outstanding people come to us every day.
People who want to make a contribution to a team and do work that really counts.
People eager to see new places, do the unusual, and find the unusual.
People who become your friends for life. People just like you.
We're not a company.
We're your country.
We're the Navy.
The Air Force.
The Marines.
The Army.
We're the armed forces.
It's a great place to start.
This is CBS.
It is not a dream. Motor Mile, I-85 and Lawrence Road, Greenville, has what you're searching for. Over 3,000 cars and trucks, a single stretch of road, unlike any other. But what really sets Motor Mile apart? More than 35 different makes, including some you won't find anywhere else.
You know, in my job, I have to live in Columbia, but November the 8th, I'm coming home to cast my vote for Knox White. Knox has served 5 years in local government, fighting for better jobs, improving education, helping our elderly. I've worked with him as a friend in Congress and as governor, and I've seen the difference he's made in the lives he's touched. Most important, I know Knox White, and I trust him. I think we make a pretty good team. Knox White for Congress, one of us.
Let me tell you something. If you're thinking about heating and cooling your home with a heat pump, I've got some news for you. A heat pump is not going to cool as well as a good separate central air conditioner. And you're not going to like the way it heats in the winter, or rather the way it doesn't heat. So why don't you go with the best, a good central air conditioner and a simple, comfortable gas furnace. They work together to save you money. Call Piedmont Natural Gas, because gas cuts the cost of comfort.
People's Court, weekdays at 5 on TV 7.
CBS Sports presents college football. Today's CFA game is sponsored by Coors Light. There's no slowing down with a silver bullet. It's the right beer now. U.S. Armed Forces, it's a great place to start. And by the insurance companies of the Kemper Group and the independent agents who represent them.
Trailing 14-7 at the half, Florida State scores 2 touchdowns in the third quarter to take the lead. And this summary will show you how they got there. Sanders Tigers' electrifying punt return set it up. And in the third quarter, Florida State completely dominated Clemson. Here it will be a third down coming up for the Seminoles as we start the final 15 minutes. 6 yards needed for the first down. They must get to the 39. Ferguson has been brilliant here so far in the second half. And this is Floyd off the draw. He gets the first down. Gets across the 40-yard line, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Seminoles.
And if you're going to run the football the way Florida State is playing offense, then it has to be off the draw play. Terrific call because they've been burning them with the pass. It's 3rd and 6. Everybody on defense is thinking pass. And watch number 27, Floyd, who does a nice job of making really about an 8-yard run out of what I thought was going to be 5 yards. Good vision as he picks up a couple of blocks.
How important is this quarter to Clemson? Take a turn back to the top of the broadcast when Eric Harsegan said Clemson could not win a national championship if they lose today. Everything is on the line. Floyd is jarred by Lott near the 40-yard line and the line of scrimmage. Number 1 under pressure. Jim Nance, what's happening in Ann Arbor?
Well, they've gone to halftime at Michigan, but not before the Wolverines score again. 2 touchdowns within 35 seconds. We told you about the last touchdown. Miami fumbled the ensuing kickoff. Then Taylor found John Colasar 18 yards out for a touchdown. Added a 2-point conversion. Halftime, Wolverines lead number 1 Miami. Let's go back to Brent.
All right, Jim, so this quarter looms even bigger as far as Clemson's title aspirations are concerned. Should Miami stumble? Now Ferguson from the pocket throws, and another great catch by Lezane. What an afternoon he has had. The 6'4" wide receiver getting up for his second brilliant catch. That's 23 yards.
And a heady throw by Ferguson. You throw it away from the defender, and you throw it up in the air and give him a chance to go get it. Corner route, one of the safest routes in football, I think, and that's a well-executed play.
Chip Ferguson, who played high school ball not far from here in Spartanburg, South Carolina, said he used to come to Death Valley and watch the Tigers as a youngster. Look forward to this return home here this afternoon. He's having a splendid second half. Now look at the top 10. And 2 of the top 5 are trailing right now. Miami, number 1, is behind Michigan at the half. Number 2, UCLA takes on Long Beach State. Clemson trailing here this afternoon in the 4th. Oklahoma winning its game, and they could jump up. USC idle. They'll play Oklahoma in a big one next week. Then it's Auburn. We'll check in on them next week. How good are they? Auburn and Georgia, the Southeastern Conference. Notre Dame a winner. They could pounce up. LSU continues to roll, and now Florida State can hop back up. So the ratings will take another turn today. Diving try by Lezane, incomplete.
That's one of those throws when you're a quarterback you just absolutely love to have back, because Lezane was running wide open down the sideline. Just not enough air on this ball. You don't see many defenders around him. Had beaten Lott by about 5 yards.
So it's 3rd down and 10. And if Ferguson has been the leading pitcher, and the leading catcher here this afternoon has been Lezane. Number 88. Great target, 6'4". Now it's 3rd and 10. O'Malley in motion. Quick drop. Throws to his running back. And there is a penalty marker down. It'll be the holding call against the Seminoles.
That's a funny call on 3rd and 10. I can see that to get you 5 yards, but not 10 yards when you throw to the back there in the flat against that kind of coverage.
So it'll be marked off against the Seminoles here.
I've got holding on the offensive team, grabbing the jersey, a 10-yard penalty from previous spot. 3rd down, repeat.
They did hold that Tiger that time.
Yeah. My kids are going to want me to bring one of those home, those Tigers.
There's the stat that tells you what's happened this half so far. Now it's 3rd and 20. Ferguson for Lassane, who slipped down, colliding with Lott, and now a penalty flag comes in. Lott and Lassane colliding inside the 10-yard line.
The rule reads that you can't have the intent to impede the receiver as he's trying to catch it.
Offensive pass interference. Lassane pushing off against Lott inside the 10-yard line. So 2 big penalties against Florida State back-to-back.
Looks like Lassane runs right up the back of number 5, James Lott, and then pushed him back down with his left arm. That's what the official called. The back judge called that one.
The ball is being marked back on the Florida State 40-yard line. 4th down and Corlew to punt. So 2 costly penalties. Clemson shows a 10-man front. Wolford standing near his 25-yard line, set to return. Wolford coming to the near side. It goes out of bounds. It was not a good punt. It's being marked at the 35-yard line. Only a 25-yard punt. Another break for Clemson. Can they capitalize? We'll be right back.
Come on, Dad. You bought this Toyota Camry because it's got a new V6.
No, the room.
Dad, you did buy it because it's got a V6.
Oh, I bought it because I've wanted an affordable Camry for years.
Charlie.
No, really. I bought it because you like to look good going to church.
Charlie.
I bought it because... Morning, Reverend. Because it's a V6.
The powerful new Camry V6. Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more?
When it comes to doing business overseas, you gotta know how to get it over there. You gotta span the globe. You gotta put spin on the ball. You gotta know foreign relations most of all. You gotta know the customs. You can't afford to be stopped at the border. You gotta make things happen when you get your customer's order. This reminder from Federal Express that it's not just a package. It's your business.
Long ago on the frontier, homeowners insurance meant knowing the cavalry was close at hand. That kind of protection was hard to beat. It still is. Today, Kemper provides insurance to homeowners, condo owners, and renters with a wide range of money-saving discounts. And you can count on professional service from the independent agents who represent the Kemper cavalry. To protect your homestead, compare Kemper. You'll ride with us.
Every college football fan should attend just once. Death Valley, Clemson, South Carolina. Look at that sea of orange. We've got more than 80,000 here this Saturday. You think how big this community is? It's only 8,100. It swells a little bit on football Saturdays. Auburn next week will have the same kind of a turnout for Tennessee. Look at what Penn State does. Georgia, Texas A&M. All areas where fans really adore their college football. Here it is, Clemson with a 1st and 10. Ball on their own 35-yard line. Coley, the tight end, moving strong to the right side, and they pound Johnson, the fullback, and a great second effort by Tracy Johnson out to the 42-yard line.
That's a terrific run. That is all Tracy Johnson because there wasn't much there, and he just kept driving. Again, there is nothing but north and south out of Tracy Johnson. Just kind of tries to hug the offensive lineman, get him behind him, just scratch, claws, bites, and picks up 6 yards.
Now, the passing game has not worked, and Clemson and Danny Ford may want to turn this attack over to the offensive line. They batter the fullback straight ahead, and it'll be 3rd and short. Coming up with Odell Higgins, the nose man for Florida State, bringing him down. So Rutgers loses to a team from the Southeastern Conference. Yale and Brown wind up with an Ivy League tie. And Princeton beats Cornell.
This is a situation that Clemson has run the option very well here this afternoon.
Jennings coming in motion. Johnson again breaks free for the 1st down. It's out to the 47-yard line. 1st down for the Tigers.
Tracy Johnson is one of those guys you have to get down by the ankles because his thighs, from the knee up, he is just so thick you can't get your arms around him. He just sheds people. Look at that. Again, just tremendous determination. He knows he needs 3 yards. He does all he has to do to get it.
He's rushed 13 times for 45 yards here this afternoon. Hooper and Cooper, the wide men. Henderson, the tailback. Williams to throw it. Now he kind of laterals it off. Not a wise decision by the quarterback because he pitched it behind Henderson, who had broken up field, and it'll leave Clemson with a 2nd and 10. Let's check in quickly with Jim Nance. Jim, what do you got?
Well, Brent, there's a big game in the WAC, and BYU has come back from 10 down to take the lead behind a freshman quarterback, Ty Detmer. Here he hits Fred Whittingham. Cougars lead with 2 minutes to go, but UTEP's driving inside the BYU 30. Let's go back to Clemson.
Sometimes you think Lavelle Edwards has about half dozen receivers downfield. 2nd and 10 for the Tigers. Ball on their own 47. Cooper goes in motion. Williams to Henderson, and Henderson pounds to midfield. But this will be 3rd and long for Clemson because first down was unsuccessful. And there is a late penalty flag coming downfield. A defensive back and a wide receiver, Deion Sanders and Jennings, were involved down around the 30-yard line, and that's what this conference is all about.
They've been going out after one another all game long.
Unsportsmanlike.
Again, top of the screen, watch these two guys. Deion Sanders likes to try to intimidate receivers, but Jennings, remember, he tries to intimidate people himself. He is 6'4", and he's blocking them downfield. And they get a little fight and pushing match. No blood, no foul.
Johnson bending into the huddle. Coley is 88. 8 yards for the first down. Johnson the lone setback. To throw, near side incomplete. Overthrew the intended receiver, way over Cooper's head, and Clemson must punt it away at the 9:42 mark. Rodney Williams 0 for 8 this half. But just when you start to count him out, he'll come up and make a play on you.
Well, we've seen it game after game in the 4th quarter when they really need it. Somehow, some way, he gets his team in a position to at least attempt to win the game. Just as that man has done in this game. Deion Sanders with one great return for a touchdown already this afternoon. Gardocki, the freshman, gets another one off. The return is set. Deion Sanders at the 20-yard line tries to cut it back, and he is swarmed by that Clemson special team at the 29-yard line. A 9-yard return for Sanders off a 30-yard punt that time. So when you come back, it'll be Chip Ferguson and the Florida State offense going to work with a 7-point lead, 21-14, and 9:30 to play.
We're not a company, but no company has more pride in what they do, or more pride in how well they do it. We offer you a meaningful and fulfilling future, one that goes far beyond the ordinary, one that brings with it the respect and admiration of Americans everywhere. We're not a company, we're your country. We're the Air Force, the Marines, the Army, the Navy. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
This year, 24 men and women are going to Seoul, Korea. Going for the gold. Coors Light is proud to be a sponsor of the USA National Men's and Women's Volleyball teams. Proud to be sending our best.
You wouldn't back out on your baby brother now, would you?
Me? Hey, here it comes.
I see it.
All right. She's all mine now. Hand her over.
Right here?
Hey, deal's a deal.
I can't believe I agreed to this.
When a truck is built to last, like a Toyota, there's no telling how many times you'll hand it down.
The hat? Thank you.
Long-lasting Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more?
football frequently is a game of big plays. And here are the two biggest of the afternoon for Seminole fans. This, the electrifying 76-yard punt return by the fastest athlete on the field, Deion Sanders. And moves like this and acceleration have the pro scouts drooling up here in the press box. Then the next time they got the ball, Chip Ferguson, who's had the hot hand, short drop, as Pat Hayden explained, and he gets it down to Lassane, a 36-yard reception. But don't forget Anthony reaching back and recovering his own fumble just prior to that reception. Nothing bigger than that moment either for the Seminoles. Now, 1st and 10. Ferguson has the offense up at the line of scrimmage. They run the draw package with Floyd, and the penalty marker comes down.
Somebody was guilty because I saw 3 flags.
The holding. Pat, what about the coaching strategy as far as Florida State is concerned here with about 9.5 minutes to go and a 7-point lead?
Holding, 10-yard penalty against the offense.
Brett, this is the time in the game where you really would like to be able to run the ball, grind out some first downs, and use the clock up. But Florida State is not that kind of team. It'd be a mistake for them to try to do that now.
We've seen some drama-packed games here in Death Valley the last few years on CBS. Last year, David Treadwell hit that field goal to beat Georgia with time running out. Could be coming down to another one here this afternoon. Ferguson complete to Lassane. And the junior wide receiver battles his way out close to a first down. He's caught 3 passes for 66 yards. Oregon over Washington State, and the Cougars had started quickly. Louisville, Howard Schnellenberger ahead of Memphis State in the 3rd quarter. Illinois pounding Utah in the 2nd. John Makovic may get a win. Florida will check in on their home in 2 weeks when LSU goes down to Gainesville. Big battle in the Southeastern Conference. Which team is the strongest? You can test Auburn next week, and then the following week, Florida and LSU. Off the 2nd down, Smith is stretched and down. You know, I want to correct the mistake I made. I said he was close to a first down. Obviously, with the penalty, he had 20 yards to go. So that was a 2nd and 14. So they're still a long way from a first down. This will leave them with a 3rd and 9.
I'll tell you, this Clemson defense has done a marvelous job of run support, particularly the defensive secondary. They've got about 10 or 12 tackles between each corner. He fights off the wide receiver, that slot, and then puts the stop on Sammy Smith. Terrific defense.
Lassane and Lewis are the wide men. Ferguson. Flushed from the pocket by Johnson. Johnson running him down from behind. Forces the incompletion. Florida State must punt at the 7:39 mark. Clemson comes up with a big defensive effort. Corlew was only able to get off a 25-yarder last time out. Wolford moving back inside his 40-yard line. Gets a dandy off here. Drives Wolford to the 25. Donnell battles his way back to the 34-yard line. A 9-yard return. 44-yard punt by Corlew. Florida State 21, Clemson 14, 7:28 to go. We'll be right back.
This Olympic coin brings it all back. Carl Lewis.
Support our athletes with U.S. Olympic gold or silver commemorative coins. Help America shine. Offered by the U.S. Mint.
Do you know how fast you were going? Did you know this license has expired?
Now, when you want twice the Pepto, you've got it. New maximum strength Pepto-Bismol.
When a lot goes
into getting a perfect 35mm photo.
Okay, all right, everybody.
Make sure it gets the individual attention it deserves with Eckerd's UltraLab 35 photo processing. UltraLab examines each negative for color and contrast, uses only Kodak paper and chemicals. Plus, UltraLab prints are 30% larger. Take your 35mm film to someone who works as hard as you do to get that perfect photo. Eckerd UltraLab 35. Nothing looks better.
To those who with a boundless energy and burning spirit live to be the best, comes a salute from those of us who live by the same values, the U.S. Armed Forces.
I'd go to college.
Me too.
If I had the money.
Yeah. I'm going to college on the new GI Bill. You serve full-time in the armed forces or part-time in the reserves, and you earn a lot of money for tuition.
The U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
This is not a conference game. Florida State an independent, Clemson a member of the ACC, but the game does carry title ramifications. So Coach Ford and his staff must consider what can happen here in the final hectic minutes. If they are able to score, do they kick for the tie or go for two and try to win? Ford was non-committal yesterday, but you would think as Williams pitches to Allen, and Allen catches the corner for a first down, you would think, Pat, that he would have to go for a two in his effort to reach the goal of a national championship. He cannot afford to get out of here with a tie right now either.
Particularly with as well as his fullback has run in short yardage situations. But the important thing, first of all, is to get that ball into the end zone. And I think they can't afford to be stopped and punt the ball and wonder if they're going to get the ball back. They got to keep moving the chains in this series.
Well, they've had to punt on all 5 of their possessions so far this year. They have only 73 total yards, but that was a fine first down burst that time. Now they come with the fullback, and the penalty marker is down. McFadden in at fullback, but the penalty marker thrown along the line of scrimmage from the side. There haven't been any turnovers.
Illegal shift on the offense.
But there have been 15 penalties in this game. So that illegal shift nullifies a good gain.
Illegal shift on the offense. Repeat.
The ball is marked back. Let's go downstairs to Pat O'Brien. Pat?
Well, Brent, I'll have to admit we've been eavesdropping down here, and the coaching staff at Clemson gave their players a little history lesson. They reminded them that the Tigers are a big fourth-quarter team, and they said you've waited 3 weeks for this. You got about 7 minutes to do it. Back to you.
All right, Pat. 1st and 15 for the Tigers. Ball back on the 40. They show motion. Throw near side, complete to Hooper. Rodney Williams with his first completion of the second half with 6:54 to go, and it was a big 19-yard gain for a first down.
You know, Rodney Williams is amazing because he can miss 8 passes in a row, but when you really need him, when the game is on the line, somehow he finds a way to do it. He took a lick after he threw that pass as well. Took a nice shot, but he hung in there. He knew he was going to get hit. Found the one-on-one coverage and drilled the ball in there.
Ball at the Florida State 41-yard line. Johnson and Allen in the backfield. Jennings is in motion. Allen stumbles as he comes across the line and gains only a couple of yards. That was Eric Hayes who tripped him up.
You know, Brent, Rodney Williams probably will not play a down in pro football. He doesn't have that kind of arm, but that doesn't matter. He is a great college quarterback. He has done all that Danny Ford has asked him here for 4 years. He's led his team. He put his team in the end zone. He's won big ball games.
None bigger than this one right now. 2nd and 8. Number 1 Miami trailing at Ann Arbor. Number 3 Clemson behind here in South Carolina. Johnson couldn't get free at the line of scrimmage. He was stacked up. This will leave Clemson with 3rd and long. Harvard rolls, and that losing streak continues. John Dockery will be happy, and some of you are probably wondering why he's not with us, and because of the unfortunate ailment suffered by Hank Stram. John Dockery has moved over to the National Football League, so we welcome Pat O'Brien here this afternoon. And we certainly want to send along our best to the coach, Hank Stram, who's recuperating in a hospital, and he plans to be back in just a few weeks. 3rd and long, complete but short of a first down. He had to get to the 31-yard line, and he got to the 33. This is going to leave 4th and 2 with Butler and Deion Sanders on the stop. The play call critical.
And I think Danny has got to go for it. You don't know whether they're going to get the ball back.
5 minutes on the clock. They must get to the 31-yard line.
Tracy Johnson, the fullback, has been sensational all day in short yardage.
He's right behind the quarterback. He's got it. He slid off a block and a would-be tackle beautifully that time, and it's going to be very close.
The Florida State staff are very concerned about the mark.
The mark will tell it all. It is very close. State is arguing that the chain was not free, that part of the linkage in the chain was tied up. They had already signaled first down. There's going to be a rhubarb over this.
Now the defensive captain can ask them to measure again.
Deion Sanders said that chain, there was more to come. Now let's see what happens. First down. 4 minutes and 32 seconds. How important is the spot on this play?
Again, it's not where his knee goes down, but where the ball is when his knee goes down. He did slide about a half a yard, but I think the official brought it back and marked it properly.
Cooper and Cooper are the wide one. Here's Johnson again, and it breaks free of the first tackle. Down to the 27-yard line.
Brent, I think you're thinking defense, and Florida State defense, you have to force Rodney Williams to beat you with his arm. You have to take away the fullback. If you have to put 8 or 9 men up at the line of scrimmage, but force him to throw it.
That's in the third quarter. Allen is the tailback. He takes the toss, turns it upfield on the left side. Ball's free, recovered by Clemson. The wide receiver fell on the ball. Keith Jennings recovering for the Tigers. A break for Clemson and a first down.
A wide receiver can make a big play in a lot of ways, and not just with a catch. It can be a block, as Jennings has all day long, and this time it's the fumble recovery. Allen's doing his best to pick up as many yards as he can. The ball is stripped there by Corrin, but there's number 87, heads-up play by Jennings.
3:26 to go. First down for Clemson. The ball is at the Florida State 18. Allen into the middle. Banging his way for 3 or 4 yards.
Clemson has fumbled the ball 4 times today, Brent, and have not lost any of them.
Timeout is being called by Florida State. Timeout Seminoles. They had only 10 players on the field. We'll be right back.
If you could ask for a truck that goes wherever you want to go, and you've got the performance answer, Toyota 4x4. Ask for rugged good looks and style and get the bragging rights that go with them. Don't compromise. Don't settle for less than Toyota quality. Now who's looking out for number 1?
Toyota.
Who could ask for anything more?
This year, 24 men and women are going to Seoul, Korea. Going for the gold. Coors Light
is proud to be a sponsor of the USA National Men's and Women's Volleyball teams. Proud to be sending our best.
Two conference collisions. The Vikings try to overthrow the Bears. The Giants battle the Cowboys. A doubleheader tomorrow on CBS Sports.
Well, with Pat Hayden and Pat O'Brien, I'm Brent Musburger. We have 3:13 to go. Florida State has exhausted its timeouts by calling that one. There seemed to be confusion with the number of Seminoles on the field. It's believed that they had only 10, and that's why they used that timeout. There are 3:13 left on the clock. Florida State leads Clemson by 7, and Danny Ford must consider what to do if he punches in this touchdown. It's our feeling that because of his success in short yardage, there's no doubt what he will do here. Tosses to Allen. He's cut off and surrounded. No daylight that time. Smith bringing him down, and that makes it 2nd and long for the Tigers.
Very good defense by Florida State. Again, make Rodney Williams beat you with his arm. Don't let the fullback beat you up the middle.
Second down. 11 yards for the first down. The fullback is free in the middle. Touchdown! Touchdown, Clemson! Swinging gate for the extra point. Morocco, the backup quarterback, to hold. Sile to kick it. It is through. We are tied at 21. And my first question to you, Pat Hayden, is what did you think of that decision with 2.5 minutes to go?
I think it's the right decision because there is 2.5 minutes left, and his team has 2 timeouts remaining. He wants to play defense again. But watch the block by the right guard. Phillips cleared the way for Tracy Johnson. And he's going to fumble, but he had crossed the plane before he had done that. And that's tremendous determination by Johnson, who's done it all day long. You're going to watch some good blocks right down here as they all crack. The fullback is going to run right through here. He really hugs the blocks, and the outside linebacker runs right by him. He's taking the quarterback. But you see the way Johnson hugs those blocks, and then his determination from the 3-yard line in. But Brent, I think again it's the right decision there to go for 1 with 2:32 remaining, and your team still has 2 timeouts.
And Florida State without any timeouts. So 2:32. 2 field goal specialists. Rusty Sile has handled the kicking so far, and he'll kick off. But the freshman, Chris Gardocki, who has punted all day, is still available too if they can get the ball back. And that's a huge number right there. Clemson with 2 timeouts remaining and Florida State with none.
Bobby Bowden has been known to run reverses on kickoff returns.
With these 2 return men, Ross and Carter. Ross comes up near the 20. Breaks free. He's at the 30 and stopped right there. Let's find out about that timeout situation. There are penalty flags going down right now. There are penalty flags on the near side, so we'll hold just a second before we check with Pat. I'm sure he's got the details on that timeout being used by Florida State. There's the clip, and it's a costly penalty against Florida State. And the ball will be taken back and spotted at the 15-yard line. Florida State has been penalized 9 times for 86 yards in this game, as Ferguson confirmed confers with the head coach.
Plenty of time. Chip Ferguson just cannot force it here. Be patient. Throw the ball to your tight end.
The crowd is about to become a factor in Death Valley. Listen to it. The Seminoles at the closed end. It'll be tough to hear. First down, Carter. Now, let's go downstairs to Pat O'Brien. Pat, what happened?
Brent, just to confirm what you had said, they counted only 10 men on the field, so they called their final timeout. And you're right on two things. The crowd is unbelievably loud down here. Let's go back to you.
All right, Pat, thank you. I'd like to take credit for that, but it has to go to Jimmy Tubbs. He was doing the counting. I have a hard time once we get past 5. It is second down and about 4 yards to go. Dexter Carter quickly up in Ferguson's ear, checking on something. Ferguson to throw. Time. Dropped by Lassane, who has been sensational this afternoon, but not that time.
Brent, I think that ball was tipped, and he thought the ball was going to get there very quickly, and somehow when it got tipped, some of the momentum was off it, and he lost his concentration. He got tipped there by that linebacker, and that's why Lassane dropped the ball.
1:39. Third down. Number 95 got a finger on that ball. Ferguson with time, and he loses it. A diving effort for the interception, and it's incomplete. He lost the grip coming forward. Perhaps the ball was wet and it slipped out. Now 2 timeouts and a minute and a half with which to work.
I think he changed his mind. I think he was trying to bring the ball back, and then it slipped out of his hands. It should have been intercepted.
It appeared for just the briefest of moments that Taylor had the ball, but as he hit the ground, it came free. Now Carlo standing back. High, it's a fake. They ran the fake for a first down. Florida State springs the big play. It's Leroy Butler down the side. Butler out of bounds at the 1-yard line. What a gutsy call by Bobby Bowden.
Unbelievable. The ball was snapped to the up-back. The up-back, number 49, Dane Williams, gets the ball. Then he's going to go around and he hands the ball to Leroy Butler, and he faked everybody out. Unbelievable.
And Butler in a foot race for the end zone. 78 yards. And that ball has been spotted at the 1-yard line. And this stadium in Clemson, South Carolina is in a state of shock. Just when they were contemplating having the ball back with a minute and a half on that clock. Now 1:20 to go. The Seminoles with Williams the fullback. He and Ferguson collide. It'll be second and goal. Williams jumped in and appeared to come on the wrong side.
And if time becomes a factor in your Bobby Bowden, you got to be concerned about your field goal team. Remember, Richie Andrews, his field goal kicker, is 0 for 3 on the year. And when you're not a good running team, these are the toughest yards to get.
Also 3 yards. Was that the call of the season?
Unbelievable. The element of surprise, Bobby Bowden has always believed in it. I thought it was going to be a fake punt, but then when the up-back handed it to Leroy Butler, that was icing on the cake. They don't have any timeouts.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to call timeouts. It's got to be a penalty.
There are no timeouts remaining. They'd already used them up.
The officials don't know that yet.
35 seconds showing on that clock.
They don't have any timeouts.
The officials trying to sort it out at the line of scrimmage.
That should be a penalty. That is a big break for Florida State.
Williams for the touchdown. Florida Florida State will beat Clemson this afternoon. There's the argument between the coach and the officials. Danny knows that the time had run out on the 25-second clock. That's what he was arguing down there.
Plus, Brent, there should have been a penalty when they tried to call a timeout. The official signaled it, and they didn't have any left.
Now the Florida State staff on the field. Bringing it back.
Kicking team is out in the field.
What have they done here? Referee Rod Daly trying to sort it out.
The scoreboard has not changed.
They have not given him the touchdown.
Just going to go for the 3 points here. And remember, Andrews is 0 for 3 on the year.
Andrews had a 24-yarder block today.
This is I think this is a very tough angle for a kicker too, Brent.
Is he going to explain it to the crowd? Scoreboard still shows 21-21. Now the officials are conferring with the press box about the sequence over here. The 25-second clock expired during that controversy. Then Florida State rammed it into the end zone, but the scoreboard has not changed. And the clock was just set back to 35 seconds.
Well, the first thing that happened, which really surprised me, you're not allowed to call a timeout when you've used all your timeouts.
Shows on that down marker across the way, it shows second down. Now, why would Bobby have his field goal kicker out there for second down with 35 seconds to go? He cannot stop it. Obviously, he's out of timeouts, so he must kick it right now.
Stopped at 35 when all the confusion was going. At this point, Florida State realized they shouldn't have called a timeout.
The clock was stopped, and it can't be stopped, right?
They had stopped it because they thought it was a timeout.
So the touchdown apparently does not count, but Andrews nails the field goal. 19 yards on the field goal.
Still got the timeout. That clock should have been running that whole time.
They were penalized, Pat. Just when you said that they should be penalized for calling the timeout, we get clarification. They were. The officials were confused as to when they did it. Touchdown does not count. That's what happened in that sequence. So it came back, and the field goal was kicked. But now, can't Coach Ford be asking the referee why they didn't mark it off? Let's go downstairs to Pat O'Brien. Pat?
Brent, the word here now is that the 25-second clock was not started. They blew the whistle, but because of the crowd noise, they didn't hear it. That's from the officials. Let's go back to you.
Not sure that that's true, what the officials told him, because we think it expired up here. But at any rate, 32 seconds. The scoreboard shows Florida State ahead by a field goal.
Brent, I think this is a good argument why you shouldn't have split crews. I think there's just too much confusion when you have officials from different conferences. Now the clock should not be stopped here, but Brent, I think it was stopped again because the officials, when Florida State first called that timeout, when they didn't have any, the official incorrectly stopped the clock.
Well, they ran this play, and the clock was running. That appeared to be a touchdown. It appeared to be the score that would put it away, and the extra point unit came on the field. Now, Coach Ford was out complaining, and then they decided the touchdown didn't count, but they didn't mark any yardage off. And from that spot, Florida State kicked a field goal to make it 24-21.
Now Clemson has to try to gather itself. They've got 32 seconds. They still have 2 timeouts remaining.
Now, Florida State tried to call that timeout because the 25-second clock was running down. Only 3 seconds left. They tried to stop it. Now, the officials might have forgotten that Bowden and his staff were out of timeouts. They could not stop it, and they should have been penalized in that situation, and yards should have been marked off. At any rate, we've got 32 seconds left on the clock. Here is the kickoff. Henderson, from 2 yards deep, brings it out for the Tigers. Out to the 26-yard line, 27 seconds to go. Now 2 timeouts to go, but an awful lot of real estate.
And a quarterback whose strong suit is not necessarily throwing the ball, but getting his team into position to win is. Remember, his Gardaki, his field goal kicker, has a long of 46 yards this year, and they would need to gain 45 yards to put him in position to kick a 46-yarder.
Jennings and Cooper are to Williams' right. Cooper is to his left. Deep over the middle for Jennings, incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 22 seconds left on the clock.
This is the type of situation where you just have to spread the field out, throw the ball downfield, and hope something happens. Joe Montana did it last week against the Giants.
But we go back to one moment that, because of the controversy, was overlooked, and that was the fact that Florida State was willing to take that enormous gamble in that punt situation.
Yep,
on 4th and 5, they ran the reverse, and Butler busted it off inside the 5-yard. That still stands out as the huge play of the game. Williams back. Deflected, and it'll be 3rd and 10 and 17 seconds left here in Death Valley.
Well, it's got to be a heartbreaking loss for Clemson, too, because of how hard they played and put themselves. It was just the kind of game they wanted, a close one they thought they could win in the 4th quarter.
Did you believe when we asked Coach Bowden, do you understand why you were favored today? He said at the end, he said, no, I can't understand it. He said, I sure hope they know something. And apparently they did. Florida State 24, Clemson 21, 3rd and 10. Trips to the right. He's got to get it in the air and almost caught on the deflection that time by Cooper. Time down to 10 seconds. 4th down and an emotional shootout in Clemson, South Carolina. Boy, that was really a mess down there by the end zone, wasn't it?
Yeah, again, I think that happened.
We got it all straight now that that's what it was.
Yep. Again, I think split crews have difficult times in situations like that, Brent.
There'll be a lot of questions that the reporters will have after this one.
4th and 10 situation, I think you give your big guy who's 6'4" a chance to go up and get the pass.
Williams back, throws it, Cooper in the air and could not hold on, and that will do it. Florida State comes to Death Valley and stages a terrific 2nd half comeback to gain back a measure of respect they lost a couple of weeks ago in the Orange Bowl in Miami when they were wiped out 31-0. Here they were behind by 7, being badly outplayed at the half. And they get some huge plays from their special teams. That has been a trademark of Bobby Bowden's coaching success through the years. And is that staff ever relieved to be headed back home to Tallahassee with a huge win. And they are back in the hunt for a national championship. Meanwhile, the heartbreak that is being felt over here on this sideline. A game they needed to win. As Bowden, the last time he came in here was with a West Virginia team to practice for a bowl game. It's his first game in here as a coach. And Bowden wins easy. The Seminoles 24, the Tigers 21, and Bobby is searching out Coach Ford.